Imagine a dimly lit room in the heart of a nondescript building somewhere in the American Midwest, on a crisp September day in 2025. The air is thick with anticipation, the kind that makes your skin tingle even before anything happens. A small group of individuals sits around a plain wooden table, their eyes closed, breathing steady but focused. These aren't just ordinary people dreaming up wild stories. They're professional remote viewers, trained over years in the most secretive protocols developed by the Central Intelligence Agency and the Stanford Research Institute back in the 1970s. They've done this hundreds of times, peering into distant places, hidden secrets, even future events, using nothing but the power of their minds. But today, on this ordinary-sounding date, everything changes. The session begins with a single set of coordinates scribbled on a piece of paper, handed out blind, no explanations, no hints, just numbers on a page, pointing to something out there in the vastness of space. As the viewers slip into that deep, meditative state, the room falls utterly silent, save for the soft scratch of pencils on paper. First to react is Nim, a veteran with 15 years under his belt. His hand trembles as he sketches what he sees: tall, humanoid figures, but not quite human. From their heads sprout what look like antennas, or perhaps antlers, branching out like some ancient, otherworldly crown. He mutters the word antenna under his breath, but his voice wavers. In all his sessions, nothing like this has ever emerged. These beings feel alive, purposeful, watching from afar with an intelligence that sends a chill down his spine. Then there's Dick, another seasoned viewer, whose perceptions dive even deeper. He describes pathways twisting through space and time, like wormholes made not of light or matter, but of pure consciousness. These aren't the sci-fi portals we've seen in movies. They're bridges that defy everything we know about physics, connecting minds across unimaginable distances. He senses a flow of energy, a deliberate weaving of thoughts and intentions that could link distant stars to our own fragile world. It's as if the universe itself is whispering secrets, but the whispers carry a warning, a sense of something vast and unseen, pulling strings from the shadows. And Edward's vision hits like a gut punch. He perceives attacks, not with weapons of steel or fire, but something far more insidious, demonic-like possessions targeting the very energy centers within the human body, those chakra points that ancient mystics have long described as gateways to higher awareness. It's as if invisible forces are probing our inner worlds, systematically disrupting the flows that connect us to our intuition, our deeper selves. He feels the malice in it, a calculated assault on what makes us truly alive and connected. The room, once calm, now hums with unease as they share their sketches and notes. Hands shake, breaths quicken. What they've glimpsed isn't a distant mountain or a hidden bunker. It's something that challenges the very fabric of our reality. When the target is finally revealed, the silence turns to stunned gasps. Those coordinates pointed to Comet 3I/Atlas, an interstellar visitor that's been making headlines all summer long. Discovered just a couple of months ago on July 1st, 2025, by the NASA-funded Atlas Survey Telescope in Chile, this comet isn't your typical solar system wanderer. It's an outsider, hurtling in from beyond our neighborhood of stars, confirmed as the third known interstellar comet after Borisov and the famous 2I/1. Recent observations from the Gemini South Telescope in Chile, captured on August 27th, show its tail growing brighter, a glowing coma enveloping its nucleus like a ethereal shroud. And just days ago, on September 15th, during a lunar eclipse, images from space enthusiasts captured it, glowing an eerie green against the blood moon, a sight that's gone viral across the astronomy community. But here's where science meets the shadow. Mainstream astronomers, peering through the James Webb Space Telescope, have noted unusually high levels of water and carbon dioxide in its composition, hinting at origins from a world unlike anything in our solar system. They call it a chunk of ice and rock, a rare cosmic tourist that will swing closest to the Sun on October 29th, 2025, and pass opposite Earth, making it tricky to spot from our vantage but no less influential. Yet, what if that's only the surface? What if the remote viewers pierced through that icy veil to see something our telescopes can't detect, something alive, intelligent, and perhaps not so friendly? Picture this. As Comet 3I/Atlas barrels toward us, its tail stretching longer with each passing week, according to those fresh Gemini South images, the world around us seems to be unraveling in perfect, eerie sync. Just last night, on September 16th, reports flooded in from Ukraine about a massive Russian drone swarm, assault the largest yet, with over 361 drones launched in a single overnight barrage, sparking fires at a major refinery deep inside Russian territory. Ukrainian forces struck back hard, but the escalation feels like a powder keg ready to ignite. President Zelensky himself noted that Russia has unleashed more than 3,500 drones and nearly 190 missiles against Ukraine so far this year alone. It's as if the skies themselves are alive with mechanical fury, mirroring the otherworldly paths Dick described. And it's not just over there. Across Europe, hospitals from Paris to Berlin have been quietly ordered to stockpile medical supplies on an unprecedented scale ever since the European Union's new stockpiling strategy kicked in back in July of 2025. Officials are preparing for mass casualties within the year, citing potential crises from pandemics to conflicts, but whispers in the corridors suggest it's more than that. Supplies for wounds and traumas that go beyond conventional wars. The EU's plan includes securing medicines, vaccines, and even generators, all in response to lessons from recent global shocks. But the timing feels too coincidental as this comet draws nearer. Even here in the United Kingdom, the government tested its emergency broadcast system for only the second time in history. Just 10 days ago, on September 7th, at 3 post-meridiem, millions of mobile phones buzzed and blared with a piercing siren, a national alert that jolted people from their Sunday routines. It was meant to prepare for floods or terror threats, but in the context of everything else, it feels like a rehearsal for something far grander, far more cosmic. World leaders from Washington to Moscow are flexing military muscles, urging citizens to prepare 14-day emergency kits, while populations teeter on the edge of chaos. Is it all random, or is the planet bracing for an impact? Not a physical crash, but a collision with truths we've long ignored. You see, if the remote viewers are right, and their track record suggests they often are, this comet isn't just passing by. It's carrying passengers, or perhaps it's steered by them, those antenna-crowned humanoids Nim sketched, entities that echo the strange figures, etched into petroglyphs and cave paintings, discovered across the globe, from the deserts of Australia to the cliffs of France, dating back thousands of years before anyone had telescopes to gaze at the stars. These ancient artworks, often dismissed as primitive art or pareidolia, now seem like warnings from our ancestors, depictions of visitors from the void who have come before. What if science has it wrong? What if our instruments, blinded by the visible spectrum, miss the intelligence woven into the comet's core, the consciousness wormholes Dick sensed, allowing these beings to probe our world without ever showing their full hand? As we sit here on this September 17th, 2025, with the comet's green glow still fresh in recent photos shared by space agencies, the implications sink in like a slow, inescapable fog. These viewers weren't amateurs spinning tales. They were professionals whose abilities have been honed and verified over decades, and their perceptions shatter the cozy assumptions we've built our lives around, that we're alone, that space is empty, that comets are harmless fireworks in the sky. Instead, they open a door to a universe teeming with purpose, where something from beyond our stars might be turning its gaze toward Earth, coordinating with forces already hidden among us. If this glimpse into the unknown has you leaning in, heart racing just a bit, then you're exactly where I want you, captivated, questioning, ready for more. Before we dive deeper into how this all connects to hidden histories and global shadows, let me pause for a moment. If you're enjoying this journey into the mysteries of our cosmos on Epoch Science, where I, Mr. 1, uncover the truths that keep us up at night, do me a favor, hit that like button to show your support, subscribe so you never miss an episode that peels back these layers, and drop a comment below telling me where you are in the world right now, what time it is as you listen to this podcast, and if you've ever had a moment that made you question the stars above. Your stories fuel these explorations, and who knows, your experience might be the key to unlocking more. Now, let's keep going, because the revelations from that room are just the beginning. To understand the weight of what happened in that session, we have to step back a little, but not too far right into the heart of why these viewers were there in the first place. This was part of a future forecasting exercise, a routine drill for a group dedicated to peering ahead, but the coordinates pulled them straight into the present cosmic drama. Comet 3, I/Atlas, with its interstellar routes confirmed by the European Space Agency's swift observations starting July 1st, isn't behaving like a passive rock. Webb's data shows elevated volatiles, suggesting it could be one of the oldest objects in the solar system, perhaps carrying remnants from a long-lost world. Blend that with the viewer's insights, and you get a picture of not just a visitor, but a vessel steered by intelligences that have been watching, waiting, perhaps even influencing from afar. Edward's sense of those chakra-targeted possessions adds another layer of dread, doesn't it? In simple terms, chakras are like the body's natural energy hubs, points where our inner vitality meets the outer world, as described in ancient Eastern traditions that have stood the test of time. Disrupting them wouldn't just cause physical unease, it could sever our intuitive links, leaving us blind to threats closing in. Tie that to the drone swarms over Ukraine, where Russian incursions even brushed Polish airspace last weekend, testing NATO's resolve, and you wonder, are these earthly conflicts distractions or echoes of a larger battle in the realm of minds and energies? As the session wrapped, the viewers compared notes, their sketches aligning in ways that defied coincidence. NIM's antenna figures weren't random. They matched descriptions from indigenous lore, where sky beings with horn-like adornments brought knowledge or warnings to early humans. Dick's wormholes suggest a technology, or perhaps a natural ability, that lets these entities slip through realities, observing without detection, much like how the comet's tail, captured in those stunning Gemini images, hides its true form in a veil of gas and dust. And with global tensions piquing Trump's threats of sanctions on Russia over the drone strikes just last week, and EU leaders pushing stockpiles amid fears of invasion or disaster, it feels like the world is syncing up to this celestial arrival. This isn't about scaring you into sleepless nights, though I know the thrill of the unknown can keep the mind buzzing. It's about inviting you to wonder, what if, on this very night, as you listen, that comet's path is drawing closer, its secrets unfolding? The remote viewers didn't just see a comet, they glimpsed a turning point, a moment where humanity's story intersects with something ancient and vast. And as we edge toward October's perihelion, with more observations pouring in from telescopes worldwide, the question lingers, what will we see when it's our turn to look up? Word count, 1,456. Picture this, a quiet September day in 2025, in a sterile room tucked away from the world's prying eyes. A group of seasoned professionals, not your everyday fortune tellers but trained remote viewers honed by methods from the Central Intelligence Agency and Stanford Research Institute, settle in for what they think is just another drill. No hints, no backstory, just a set of blind coordinates handed to them on a slip of paper. As the session begins, the air thickens with an unspoken tension. Nim, a veteran with 15 years under his belt, starts sketching furiously, his hands trembling like leaves in a storm. What emerges on the page isn't anything from this world. Humanoid figures with strange appendages sprouting from their heads, like antlers or antennas, twisting in ways that defy simple explanation. He mutters under his breath, calling them antennas, but they remind him of something ancient, something buried in the depths of human history. Dick, sitting across the table, closes his eyes tighter, his brow furrowing as he describes pathways snaking through the fabric of space and time. Consciousness wormholes, he calls them, tunnels that laugh in the face of our known physics, connecting minds across impossible distances. And then there's Edward, his voice dropping to a whisper as he senses dark forces at play, like demonic possessions latching onto human energy centers, those chakra points mystics talk about, systematically attacking the very links that tie us to a higher awareness. The room grows colder with each revelation, the viewers exchanging glances that speak volumes without words. When the session wraps, and the target is finally unveiled, silence crashes over them like a wave. They've been peering into Comet 3I/Atlas, an interstellar wanderer that mainstream astronomers brush off as a mere chunk of ice and rock hurtling from beyond our solar system. But what if that's the cover story? What if these viewers have glimpsed something our telescopes can't catch? A hidden intelligence that's been watching us all along. Now, let's ground this in what's happening right now. In 2025, just this July 1st, the NASA-funded Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System telescope in Chile spotted this comet, officially dubbing it 3I/Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor after Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. It's barreling through our neighborhood at a staggering 130,000 miles per hour on a hyperbolic path that screams it's not from around here. Observations from the Gemini South Telescope in early September captured its growing tail and glowing coma, that hazy envelope of gas and dust, stretching out as it warms up on its journey inward. The James Webb Space Telescope got in on the action back in August, revealing unusually high levels of water and carbon dioxide details that make scientists scratch their heads, wondering about its ancient origins, possibly billions of years old, older than our own Sunday. Hubble snapped the sharpest image yet in late July, showing a teardrop-shaped cocoon of dust billowing from its icy core, all while it's set to skim just inside Mars's orbit by October 30, remaining visible through ground-based scopes until late this month before dipping too close to the Sunday. But here's where the mystery deepens. These remote viewers didn't know any of that. They were blind to the target, isolated from news of the comet's discovery or its interstellar routes. Yet their descriptions align in eerie ways with what we're seeing now. NIMS antenna-bearing entities echo shapes in ancient cave paintings, those petroglyphs from thousands of years ago, long before anyone dreamed of telescopes. Could these be records of prior visits, etched by our ancestors who witnessed similar beings? Dick's wormholes suggest a technology that bends reality, allowing consciousness to slip through dimensions we barely understand, perhaps explaining how such entities could monitor us without ever showing up on radar. And Edwards' visions of possessions targeting chakras, those vital energy spots, said to connect our inner selves to the cosmos, hint at a subtle invasion, not with ships and lasers, but through the very fabric of our minds, disrupting our intuition and leaving us vulnerable. As the viewers process this, the implications hit like a thunderclap. Science tells us Comet 3I/Atlas is just a relic from another star system, maybe 7.6 to 14 billion years old, belonging to the galaxy's thick disk of ancient stars. But what if it's more? What if it's a vessel, or a probe, carrying intelligences that have been scouting our solar system for eons? The timing feels too perfect. Its approach coincides with escalating global unrest. Russia's largest drone swarm assault on Ukraine, just as Edward foresaw in his broader forecasts, hospitals across Europe quietly stockpiling supplies for expected mass casualties within the year. The United Kingdom testing its emergency broadcast system for only the second time ever. Nations urging citizens to prepare 14-day emergency kits, while military posturing ramps up everywhere. It's as if the whole planet senses something coming, something from the stars, aligned with this comet's path. And speaking of sensing something, if this tale is sending a shiver down your spine right now, making you glance at the night sky a little differently, why not hit that like button to show you're with me on this journey? Subscribe to Epoch Science for more revelations that peel back the layers of our universe. And drop a comment below. Tell me where in the world you are right now, what time it is as you listen, and if you've ever had a moment that made you doubt the official story about what's out there. Your stories fuel this exploration, connecting us all in ways that mirror those wormholes Dick described. Diving back in, let's consider how remote viewing even works, because if we're to trust these perceptions, we need to understand the foundation. Born from Cold War fears in the 1970s, when the Central Intelligence Agency caught wind of Soviet experiments in psychic phenomena, they teamed up with Stanford to test people with unusual perceptual gifts. The protocols were ironclad: no maps, no briefings, just coordinates, often in shielded rooms to block any cheating. Time and again, viewers nailed details about far-off places, hidden bases, even events unfolding miles away. Joseph McMonigal, viewer number 1, hit accuracy rates that defied chance, verified by scientists who couldn't explain it away. This wasn't guesswork. It was something profound, tapping into a consciousness that isn't trapped in our skulls but flows through the universe like an invisible river. So, when these viewers turn their minds to Comet 3I/Atlas, their findings paint a picture far beyond a simple space rock. NIM's sketches of those antennaed figures suggest beings with tech that interfaces directly with thought, perhaps using those appendages to broadcast or receive across vast distances. Ancient artworks from sites like the Lascaux Caves in France or the petroglyphs in Utah show similar forms, horned or antennaed humanoids dating back tens of thousands of years. Were our forebears documenting encounters with the same entities now riding this comet? Recent analyses of these paintings, using modern imaging, reveal details that match NIM's drawings uncannily, right down to the branching patterns on the antennas, as if they were neural networks or communication arrays. Dick's consciousness wormholes add another layer of intrigue. In physics, wormholes are theoretical shortcuts through space-time, but here they're described as living conduits for awareness, allowing instant connection regardless of distance. Tie this to the comet's interstellar trek. Scientists estimate it's been wandering the galaxy for billions of years, its path tilted against the Milky Way's plane, suggesting it hails from the thick disk, where stars are ancient and metal-poor. If these wormholes exist, perhaps the entities use them to scout ahead, probing Earth's defenses without physical travel. Edward's demonic possessions feel even more chilling in this light. Not supernatural hauntings, but technological hacks into our bioenergy fields. Chakras, in Eastern traditions, are spinning wheels of energy aligning body and spirit. Disrupting them could blind us to threats, making us pliable to outside influence. The session's revelations didn't stop at visions, they rippled into predictions that are unfolding now. Edward's forecast of the Russian drone attack matched reports from just last week, with swarms larger than ever seen, and as Comet 3I/Atlas's tail grows, captured vividly by Gemini South's deep images showing it lengthening before our eyes, one can't help but wonder if it's shedding more than dust, perhaps seeding the atmosphere with something unseen, or signalling to hidden allies on Earth. The Webb telescope's data on its composition, with elevated water and carbon dioxide, hints at volatiles that could interact with our planet in ways we don't yet grasp, maybe even altering weather patterns or consciousness subtly. This isn't idle speculation. It's built on patterns from decades of remote viewing ops. While public records focus on spying earthly foes, classified layers delved into cosmic anomalies, suggesting we've never been alone. Government's frantic preparations, stockpiling, testing alerts, echo a deeper knowledge, as if they know what's aboard this comet isn't benign. Perhaps its coordinators arriving to oversee a long-planned shift, turning our world into a node in a galactic network. The viewers' shaken hands and hushed voices in that room foretell a reckoning, where humanity's place in the stars gets rewritten. As we peel back these layers, the comet's approach feels like a countdown. By October 30, when it reaches perihelion, swinging closest to the Sun at 1.4 astronomical units, its brightness might peak, but so might the chaos. Hubble's July image of that dusty cocoon could be hiding structures, or worse, life forms attuned to our frequencies. The green glow spotted during the recent lunar eclipse, as reported by observers, adds a spectral quality, like the comets responding to our moon's shadow. If Edward's possessions are real, they might explain the rising reports of unexplained anxiety worldwide. People feeling watched or influenced without cause. In wrapping this session's tale, remember, remote viewing isn't magic, it's a disciplined peek beyond the veil, verified time and again. What Nim, Dick, and Edward saw on Comet 3I/Atlas challenges everything, our science, our history, our very sense of self. As it hurtles closer, keep your eyes open, your mind sharp. The universe might be whispering secrets, and we're just starting to listen. As the sun dips lower each day, in this crisp autumn of 2025, Comet 3I/Atlas carves its silent path through the inner solar system, a ghostly intruder from the galaxy's distant fringes. Discovered on July 1st by the NASA-funded Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System telescope in Chile, this interstellar visitor isn't bound to our sun like the comets we're used to. It's a rogue, slinging through on a hyperbolic trajectory at speeds topping 130,000 miles per hour. By October 30th, it'll graze its closest point to the sun, at about 1.4 astronomical units, roughly 130 million miles out, just inside Mars's orbit. But here's the twist that keeps astronomers buzzing. Positioned opposite Earth during that perihelion, it'll be nearly invisible from our side of the planet, a shadowy spectre influencing us from afar, without ever showing its full face. Recent images from the Gemini South Telescope in Chile, snapped on August 27th, reveal its tail elongating like an ethereal banner, a coma of gas and dust glowing faintly in infrared. The James Webb Space Telescope's data adds intrigue, detecting elevated water vapor and carbon dioxide, signs of ancient volatiles that whisper of origins in a star system far older than ours, perhaps from the Milky Way's thick disk, where stars burn dim and ancient. Yet, as this comet hurtles closer, the world below seems to mirror its ominous advance with a symphony of unrest that's hard to ignore. Take the escalating drone wars over Ukraine, where just last week, on September 10th, Russian forces unleashed their largest barrage yet, over 360 drones swarming the skies in a single night, igniting fires at key refineries and pipelines deep in enemy territory. Ukrainian counterstrikes have been fierce, with reports of their drones hitting a major Russian oil terminal, causing blazes that lit up the horizon like infernal beacons. These aren't isolated skirmishes. They're part of a pattern that's seen more than 3,500 drones and nearly 200 missiles exchanged this year alone, pushing oil revenues into a tailspin and straining global energy markets. President Zelensky's warnings ring louder each day, but amid the chaos one can't help but ponder, is this mechanical fury in the air somehow attuned to the comet's approach? A terrestrial echo of cosmic disruption? Shift your gaze westward, and the tensions thicken. In Belarus, the Zapad 2025 military exercises, meaning West in Russian, kicked off on September 16th, drawing in troops from Russia, Belarus, and surprisingly, India. Over 100,000 soldiers maneuvering with tanks, aircraft, and nuclear-capable missiles, simulating defences against a NATO incursion. TASS reports highlight the drill's scale, but NATO members like Poland, Latvia, and Lithuania are on high alert, their borders humming with anxiety as these manoeuvres brush uncomfortably close. Denmark, too, leads exercises in Greenland this very week, deploying forces amid wariness toward Russian encroachments in the Arctic, where melting ice opens new shipping lanes and resource grabs. It's a frozen frontier turning hot, with US tensions simmering over basing rights, President Trump's recent pledges to rename the Department of Defense to the Department of War only fueling the fire. Across the Pacific, China's Xiangshan Forum opens its doors on September 15th, a security gathering amid roiling regional disputes. Reuters notes the event's timing, with discussions on everything from South China Sea claims to Taiwan Strait patrols, where US and allied ships challenge Beijing's assertions weekly. Add in the Houthis' strikes on shipping in Yemen, prompting Israeli retaliations at Hodeidah port just yesterday, September 16th. And the globe feels like a web of flashpoints, each one vibrating with potential escalation. The International Crisis Group's August Trends report warns of rising cartel violence along the US-Mexico border, with Trump greenlighting military preparations that could ignite cross-border clashes. And in the broader watch list for 2025 from the Council on Foreign Relations, experts rank 30 global conflicts, from Iran-Israel proxy wars to African insurgencies, all poised to impact US interests profoundly. But let's circle back to the comet. Could this celestial nomad be more than a passive observer in this earthly drama? Speculation runs wild in astronomy circles, with Harvard physicist Avi Loeb discussing on Fox News just last month how such fast-moving objects like 3I/Atlas might carry signatures of extraterrestrial tech, perhaps even probes scouting our system. Universe Today's Spotting Guide, updated September 1st, urges backyard stargazers to train binoculars westward after sunset through late September, catching its faint glow near Virgo before it vanishes behind the Sunday animations. From NASA's simulation labs depict its trajectory as a sweeping arc, dodging planets with precision that feels almost deliberate. The European Space Agency's frequently asked questions, refreshed on September 8th, notes its closest solar approach in late October, after which it'll slingshot outward, never to return. Yet, Whispers in online forums tie its green-tinged coma, captured during the recent lunar eclipse, to anomalous atmospheric readings, like increased electromagnetic interference over conflict zones. Imagine the possibilities. What if this comet, with its ancient ices potentially billions of years old, isn't just shedding dust but broadcasting signals undetectable by our current tech? The remote viewer's perceptions from that fateful session, those antennaed humanoids, consciousness pathways, and energy assaults gain new weight here. Perhaps the global stockpiling orders aren't mere precautions. European hospitals, under EU directives from July, are amassing supplies for mass casualties, citing pandemics or wars, but insiders murmur of preparations for disruptions beyond human ken, electromagnetic pulses or psychological waves that could mimic the Chakra attacks Edward described. In the US, FEMA's 14-day emergency kit advisories, echoed across allies, feel like dress rehearsals for a comet-induced blackout where power grids falter under unseen influences. Delve deeper, and the comet's influence seems to seep into every crack of international strain. Russia's oil woes from Ukrainian drone hits refineries ablaze. Revenues collapsing by double digits coincide with 3I/Atlas's brightening, as if economic sabotage aligns with celestial mechanics. The People's Liberation Army's parade, plans for September 2025, showcasing ground forces adapted for future wars, include hypersonic missiles that could theoretically intercept space threats, raising eyebrows about unspoken defenses. Council on Foreign Relations Conflicts to Watch report highlights how these tensions, from Middle East flare-ups to African resource wars, could cascade into a global conflagration, especially if an external catalyst like a comet harboring intelligence tips the scales. Curiosity pulls us further. The BBC Sky, at Night Magazine's August 26th piece on 3I/Atlas, projects its perihelion glow, visible briefly in southern hemispheres, but its opposition to Earth means northern observers might catch only faint pre-dawn glimpses in early October. Spotting tips include using apps like Stellarium for precise coordinates, aiming low on the horizon where its tail might streak like a phantom. Scientific American forums buzz with theories. Could its composition, rich in organics per web data, seed atmospheric changes, amplifying weather anomalies that exacerbate military logistics? Recent storms over the Black Sea, delaying naval maneuvers, feel suspiciously timed. Ponder the mass casualty predictions woven into these preparations. The Crisis Group's September alerts flag escalating U.S. Mexico border militarization, with potential for cartel clashes drawing in forces on a scale unseen since the drug wars peaked. In Asia, the Jiangshan Forum's agenda includes subtle nods to space security, where China's anti-satellite capabilities intersect with comet tracking. Avi Loeb's interviews speculate that interstellar objects like this could be reconnaissance tools, their hyperbolic paths ideal for flybys that scan planetary defenses without commitment. As tensions simmer, the comet's ominous shadow lengthens. Space.com's September 8th article on Comet C 2025. A 6. Lemon, another approaching visitor, closest on October 20th, adds to the celestial crowd, potentially visible to the naked eye if it brightens as hoped. But 3I/Atlas steals the show with its interstellar pedigree, prompting questions. Why now? In a year riddled with drills like Zapad and parades signaling readiness, the Rio Times' September 7th roundup of military developments lists 10 key events, from US War Department rebranding to Beijing's warnings, all underscoring a world on edge. What if the comet's approach isn't coincidental but catalytic? Remote viewing hints at reconnaissance, backed by its unusual volatiles that could interact with Earth's magnetosphere, perhaps triggering the very disruptions governments brace for. Universe Today's Evan Goff piece from September 11th probes its origins, suggesting a birthplace in the galactic thick disk, a realm of ancient stars where life or intelligence might have evolved differently. Spotting guides recommend dark skies in rural areas, with animations simulating its slingshot around the sun, a maneuver that feels engineered. The web of connections tightens. Ukrainian drone successes against Russian infrastructure mirror potential vulnerabilities to cosmic interference, where a comet's tail could disperse particles disrupting electronics. NATO's worries over Zapad exercises, with 100,000 troops simulating hybrid warfare, include cyber and space elements that align with the comet's path. Denmark's Greenland Ops, per PBS reports on September 16th, emphasize Arctic sovereignty amid Russian submarine patrols, but underlying tensions with U.S. basing hint at preparations for broader threats. Curious minds wander. The ESA's frequently asked questions assures no impact risk, but its slingshot outbound after October 30th leaves a legacy. What changes might it impart? Crisis Group's Israel update from September 16th details strikes on Houthi sites, escalating Red Sea tensions that could draw in global powers. The ACLED conflict watch list for 2025 flags Iran-Israel dynamics as top concerns, with proxy wars potentially ignited by unforeseen catalysts. In this tapestry of earthly strife and stellar mystery, 3I/Atlas looms as a harbinger, its invisible perihelion, a metaphor for hidden forces at play. Universe Today's David Dickinson on September 15th announces Comet C 2025 R2 Swan, a surprise brightener detected near the Sun, potentially visible in October, a duo of comets amplifying the sky's drama. Animations from solar observatories show Swan's orbit intertwining with Atlas's, a cosmic dance that sparks wonder. Are these visitors random or part of a pattern? The Strategic Studies Institute's analysis of China's September parade reveals PLA adaptations for future conflicts, including space domain awareness, perhaps eyeing comets as potential threats or assets. As global leaders convene, from Zhongshan to UN assemblies, the undercurrent of preparation pulses. Emergency mandates, like the UK's recent broadcast test, echo across continents, stocking for casualties that might stem from more than bullets, perhaps from the psychological or energetic ripples Edward's visions foretold. In this tapestry of earthly strife and stellar mystery, Comet 3I/Atlas looms as a harbinger, its invisible perihelion a metaphor for hidden forces at play. Universe Today's David Dickinson on September 15th announces Comet C 2025 R2 Swan, a surprise brightener detected near the Sun, potentially visible in October, a duo of comets amplifying the sky's drama. Animations from solar observatories show Swan's orbit intertwining with Atlas's, a cosmic dance that sparks wonder. Are these visitors random or part of a pattern? As global leaders convene, from Zhongshan to UN assemblies, the undercurrent of preparation pulses. Emergency mandates, like the UK's recent broadcast test, echo across continents, stocking for casualties that might stem from more than bullets, perhaps from the psychological or energetic ripples Edward's visions foretold. So, as you listen to these unfolding mysteries, I'm curious, where in the world are you right now, and what time does your clock read? Drop a note in the comments. Your perspective weaves into this cosmic puzzle, hinting at how these events resonate wherever you are. Skepticism has always been the first barrier to any idea that pushes the boundaries of what we consider possible, and remote viewing is no exception. Picture this: a practice where someone, sitting in a quiet room, can describe a hidden location thousands of miles away, or even peer into events from the past or future, all without leaving their chair. It sounds like the stuff of science fiction novels or late-night infomercials, right? Critics have dismissed it as pseudoscience, a mix of lucky guesses, cold reading, or outright fraud. Yet, as we dig into the evidence, layer by layer, what emerges isn't just a collection of anecdotes, but a body of declassified documents, scientific evaluations, and verifiable successes that challenge even the staunchest doubters. How did something born from Cold War paranoia evolve into a tool with documented accuracy rates that defy chance? Let's unravel this, starting from the roots and building toward the undeniable proofs that make you wonder if our minds are far more powerful than we've been taught. The story kicks off in the early 1970s, amid the height of the US-Soviet rivalry. The Central Intelligence Agency got wind of rumors that the Soviets were pouring resources into psychic research, exploring ways to weaponize the mind for espionage. Not wanting to fall behind, the CIA quietly funded experiments at the Stanford Research Institute, enlisting physicists like Harold Puthoff and Russell Targ to test individuals claiming extraordinary perceptual abilities. This wasn't some fringe operation. It was methodical science meeting the unknown. They developed strict protocols to eliminate cheating or coincidence. Viewers received only random coordinates, no descriptions or hints about the target. Isolated in shielded rooms, they described what they saw through sketches and verbal accounts, often while monitors tracked their sessions to ensure integrity. One of the standout figures in this early phase was Joseph McMonigal, designated as Remote Viewer Number 1. A retired Army intelligence officer, McMonigal didn't stumble into this. He was recruited after demonstrating uncanny abilities during initial tests. His accuracy wasn't hype, it was quantified. In controlled laboratory conditions at Stanford, evaluations showed hit rates ranging from 72 to 88%, depending on the criteria used. For context, chance alone would yield around 20 to 30% in such tasks. Scientists like Jessica Utz, a statistician from the University of California, reviewed the data and concluded that the probability of these results occurring randomly was astronomically low, less than 1 in a billion in some cases. Utz's 1995 report for the American Institutes for Research stated that remote viewing produced results beyond what is expected by chance, urging further investigation despite skepticism from peers. But let's address the elephant in the room. How do we separate genuine evidence from wishful thinking? Declassified documents from the CIA's own archives provide a roadmap. In 1995, after 20 years of operation, Project Stargate, the umbrella program encompassing these efforts, was reviewed and partially declassified. One key document, an overview titled Stargate Project. An overview details the program's 3 main areas: foreign assessment of psychic threats, external research contracts, and in-house investigations. It highlights successes like locating hidden Soviet submarines or monitoring foreign weapons programs, where viewers' descriptions matched later verified intelligence. For McMonigal specifically, a 1984 session stands out. Given coordinates for planet Mars, time of interest approximately 1 million B.C., he described massive pyramidal structures and tall, thin humanoids facing environmental collapse details that, while unprovable, aligned with later NASA imagery of anomalous formations on Mars's Cydonia region. Skeptics cried contamination from sci-fi, but McMonigal had no prior knowledge, and his track record lent weight. Diving deeper into the declassifications, a 1995 evaluation report commissioned by the CIA and Defense Intelligence Agency analyzed over 254 remote viewing tasks. The overall accuracy hovered around 65% for descriptive elements, with some viewers like McMonigal consistently outperforming. The report noted that the statistical results were far beyond what is expected by chance, with p-values indicating odds against randomness exceeding 1 in 10,000. Even the National Research Council, often cited by debunkers, acknowledged in their review that while methodological flaws existed in early studies, the phenomenon warranted more rigorous testing. This isn't cherry-picking. These are government-funded assessments, released under Freedom of Information Act requests, showing that remote viewing wasn't dismissed outright, it was refined. What makes this even more intriguing is how remote viewing transitioned from military secrecy to public scrutiny. By the mid-1990s, with the Cold War thawing, the program faced budget cuts and congressional oversight. The CIA's final assessment, led by Ray Hyman, a known skeptic, and Jessica Utz, presented a balanced debate. Hyman argued for possible sensory leakage or cueing, but Utz countered with meta-analyses of over 100 experiments, showing effect sizes comparable to established psychological phenomena like the Ganzfeld effect in ESP studies. Her conclusion? It is clear to this author that anomalous cognition is possible and has been demonstrated. This split verdict didn't kill the field. It sparked civilian interest, leading to organizations like the International Remote Viewing Association, founded in 1999. Fast forward to today, September 17th, 2025, and remote viewing isn't gathering dust in archives, it's alive and evolving. The International Remote Viewing Association's annual conference, held this year in Cloudcroft, New Mexico from June 20th to 22nd, brought together experts for workshops on advanced techniques and ethical applications. Attendees discussed integrating remote viewing with modern tech, like AI-assisted analysis of viewer sketches. One highlight was a panel on predictive viewing, where participants shared hits from sessions targeting 2025 events, such as economic shifts or natural phenomena. The conference's theme, Exploring Consciousness Frontiers, emphasized scientific rigor, with sessions on fuzzy set analysis, a method McMoneagle himself used to quantify matches between viewer descriptions and targets. Speaking of modern validations, social media has become a surprising proving ground. On platforms like TikTok, creators share remote viewing experiments with real-time feedback. For instance, a viral series from early 2025 challenged viewers to describe sealed envelopes containing random images. Aggregated results showed accuracy rates around 55%, beating chance. While not lab-controlled, these crowdsourced trials build curiosity, prompting users to try it themselves. Podcasts and YouTube channels dissect declassified cases, like McMoneagle's 1983 viewing of a Soviet Typhoon-class submarine under construction, details confirmed by satellite imagery months later. His book, Remote Viewing Secrets, published in 2000, outlines protocols anyone can learn, demystifying the process and inviting experimentation. But evidence isn't just historical. It's statistical and repeatable. In a 1988 study at the Stanford Research Institute, McMoneagle participated in trials where targets were chosen randomly from National Geographic magazines. His descriptions matched 78% of key elements, evaluated blindly by judges. The Journal of Parapsychology published similar findings, with meta-analyses across labs showing consistent small but significant effects. Critics like James Randi offered $1 million for proof, but when McMoneagle applied, the challenge's terms shifted, highlighting how skepticism sometimes borders on evasion. Randi's foundation never tested remote viewing under original protocols, yet the data persists. Curiosity peaks when we consider applications beyond spying. In archaeology, remote viewers have located lost sites. One session pinpointed an ancient shipwreck off the Bahamas, later confirmed by divers. In medicine, exploratory studies at institutions like the University of Virginia suggest viewing could aid diagnostics, describing internal conditions with surprising detail. McMoneagle's own health viewing sessions, where he accurately described tumors in strangers, add a humanitarian angle. These aren't outliers. The Applied Precognition Project, active since 2013, uses remote viewing for stock market predictions, reporting hit rates above 50% over thousands of trials, enough to intrigue investors. To counter the "it's all coincidence" argument, let's look at controls. Protocols included double-blind setups, where neither viewer nor monitor knew the target. Feedback was delayed, preventing queuing. In one series, viewers described Soviet installations. Intelligence later corroborated 80% of details. The CIA's 1994 memo on an evaluation of the remote viewing program admitted operational utility, despite recommending closure for cost reasons. This pragmatism, using it while debating it, speaks volumes. As we probe further, the science intersects with philosophy. If remote viewing works, what does it say about consciousness? Theories from quantum entanglement to non-local information fields emerge, supported by physicists like Dean Radin at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. His experiments replicate Stanford's, with accuracy in the 60 to 70% range. The 2025 International Remote Viewing Association Conference featured Radin's talk on integrating remote viewing with neuroscience, using fMRI scans showing brain activity in viewers, mirroring target stimuli, even when separated by continents. TikTok's role in 2025 can't be understated. Hashtags like number remote viewing 2025 have exploded, with users posting predictions for events like the November elections or climate shifts. One account, with over 1 million followers, ran a challenge viewing the outcome of a sealed sports bet. Collective accuracy hit 62%. While anecdotal, it builds a grassroots case, echoing early Stanford trials. McMoneagle's legacy endures. At 80 years old in 2025, he continues teaching via online courses, emphasizing practice over mysticism. His 1998 viewing of Japanese Om Shinrikyo cult activities aided investigations, declassified in 2015. Accuracy, 85%, matched to facts. Skeptics persist, citing failed replications, but Utz's rebuttals highlight flawed debunking methods. The evidence stack, D-class docs, stats, modern apps builds a compelling case. Remote viewing isn't infallible, but its proofs invite exploration, teasing at untapped human potential. What secrets might your mind hold? Deep in the archives of declassified intelligence, a single session from 1984 stands as a gateway to one of the most provocative enigmas in human exploration: the possibility of a lost civilization on Mars. Joseph McMoneagle, the CIA's remote viewer number 1, sat in a controlled environment, given nothing but coordinates and a timeframe planet Mars, approximately 1 million years before Christ. Without prior knowledge, he began describing visions that would later send ripples through both scientific and esoteric communities. He sketched massive pyramidal structures, far larger than Egypt's Great Pyramid, rising from a barren landscape scarred by catastrophe. These weren't crude formations. They suggested advanced engineering, with precise angles and immense scale, as if built by beings who commanded technology beyond our ancient ancestors' wildest dreams. He perceived tall, slender humanoids, not primitive survivors but remnants of a sophisticated society, huddled in underground shelters as their world crumbled around them. The atmosphere was toxic, the environment collapsing, dust storms raging, waters receding, a planet dying under an unrelenting assault from forces unknown. What makes this account so compelling isn't just the vividness of McMoneagle's perceptions, captured in a now public CIA transcript where he hesitates, calling it really weird, before pressing on with raw impressions. It's how these details echo anomalies that NASA has documented on Mars's surface, particularly in the Cydonia region. There, Viking orbiter images from 1976 revealed the infamous face on Mars, a mesa resembling a humanoid visage, alongside pyramid-like formations that some researchers argue show artificial geometry. McMoneagle's pyramids match these in layout and proportion, describing them as protective enclaves where the humanoids sought refuge from a planetary disaster, perhaps a loss of magnetic field or catastrophic impacts that stripped away Mars's once habitable atmosphere. Fast forward to 2025, and these legendary discoveries gain fresh urgency with NASA's Perseverance rover unearthing rocks in Jezero crater that bear the strongest hints yet of ancient microbial life. On July 25, 2024, though the peer-reviewed confirmation came. This year, the rover analysed a veined arrowhead-shaped rock dubbed Shiava Falls, revealing organic compounds, chemical signatures of potential biological reactions, and iron phosphate leopard spots reminiscent of Earth's microbial fossils. This isn't speculation. It's data from the rover's Sherlock instrument, showing carbon-based molecules and energy sources that could have fueled life billions of years ago when Mars hosted rivers and lakes. But if microbes existed, why not more complex forms? McMoneagle's vision of intelligent beings facing extinction aligns eerily with this timeline: Mars's wet era, ending around 3 billion years ago, leaving behind dry riverbeds and polar ice caps that hint at a world once teeming with possibility. The implications stretch further when we consider resurfaced CIA documents from 2025, spotlighting remote viewing's role in probing ancient artifacts. In March, declassified files from Project Stargate resurfaced, claiming the agency used viewers to locate the biblical Ark of the Covenant, described as a wooden chest overlaid with gold, hidden in a Middle Eastern cave. Viewer number 32, in a 1988 session, pinpointed it at coordinates corresponding to Mount Nebo in Jordan, sketching seraphim decorations and sensing its radiant energy. But here's the curious link to Mars. Some analysts speculate the Ark's described power source, capable of parting seas or leveling armies, mirrors the advanced tech McMoneagle saw in Martian structures, perhaps relics of interstellar knowledge passed to Earth. Could the dying Martians have seeded our planet with artifacts, warnings encoded in religious lore? The New York Post's March 26th article on these docs questions whether the Ark's existence was confirmed psychically, fueling debates on whether similar sessions uncovered Martian relics hidden here or there. This isn't isolated. McMoneagle's Mars session, detailed in a CIA PDF released under FOIA, paints a narrative of desperation. He described the humanoids as very large people, thin and elongated, adapted to low gravity, engineering vast obelisks and shelters as their climate failed. Recent X discussions in 2025 revive this, with users linking it to Trump's offhand comments on Joe Rogan's podcast about life on Mars, brushing it off but implying insider knowledge. One thread from September 13th ties McMonagle's findings to CIA files, speculating the tall beings underground were survivors of a pole shift or gravitational calamity. Another post from September 11th questions NASA's recent biosignature announcement, wondering if it's a soft disclosure building on remote viewing revelations. NASA's 2025 updates on Cydonia add fuel. The agency's Mars Report Special Edition from September highlights Perseverance's findings, but quietly nods to ongoing analysis of Viking-era anomalies. High-resolution images from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, refreshed this year, show the face as a natural but oddly symmetrical hill, yet fractal analysis by independent researchers suggests artificial erosion patterns. The BBC's July article on the rover's tantalizing evidence describes rocks with organic veins, possibly from hydrothermal vents, echoing McMonagle's toxic atmosphere and dying ecosystems. If life evolved there, evolving into intelligent forms before catastrophe struck, what remnants linger? McMonagle sensed bones on the surface, vast skeletal remains scattered across dunes, a graveyard of a once thriving world. Ponder the warning for Earth. Mars's magnetic field collapsed billions of years ago, exposing it to solar winds that stripped away water and air. Our planet's field weakens periodically. Could a similar fate await if we ignore cosmic cycles? McMonagle's humanoids, trapped in pyramids as their sky turned hostile, mirror our climate anxieties. 2025's resurfaced Arc docs, per Forbes's March 29th piece, blend psychics with archaeology, suggesting remote viewing bridged worlds, perhaps locating Martian tech echoed in biblical power sources. Reddit threads from March 27th debate this, linking the Arc's coordinates to Martian-like desert hides, theorizing extraterrestrial origins. X Chatter amplifies. A September 16th post from Fringe Radio Network discusses remote viewing Mars alongside AI and Bible prophecy, tying to 2025 comet sightings as omens. Another from September 15th humorously claims remote viewing via YouTube, but underscores public fascination. NASA's September 8th press release on Perseverance's biosignature organic molecules in a rock that could indicate microbial activity fuels speculation. The Times Union's September 11th article calls it the strongest hints yet, with chemical reactions mirroring Earth's ancient life forms. The Face on Mars documentary trailer from January 26, 2025, revisits Cydonia, interviewing experts on Viking images, showing the city complex pyramids aligned in mathematical precision. Medium's May 22nd piece explores Cydonia's hidden truth, suggesting pareidolia but admitting geometric anomalies defy natural explanations. NASA's August 27th image release from the Mars orbiter shows fresh craters near Cydonia, hinting at ongoing geological activity that could bury or reveal artifacts. McMonagle's interview in a 2024 Medium article elaborates. He felt the humanoids' despair, their tech failing against environmental doom, perhaps a solar flare or asteroid barrage. Central News' December 24, 2024. Piece on CIA docs claims very large people and pyramids, suggesting astral projection revealed a timeline where Mars hosted cities. Jason Colavito's blog details the session's July 1984 date, noting McMonagle's AOL, analytical overlay, struggles, where mind wanders but snaps back to clarity. Tie this to the Ark. Live Now Fox's March 27th article on the unclassified 1988 session describes the Ark as fashioned of wood, gold and silver, similar to McMonagle's Martian metallic structures. NDTV's March 29th notes Viewer 32 found it accidentally, suggesting psychic slips between targets like Mars-to-Earth artifacts. YouTube's March 27th video on psychic quests for the Ark speculates interstellar links, with remote viewing bridging planetary histories. X posts from September 13th reference CIA papers on Mars life 1 million years ago, tying to NASA's biosignatures. A September 13th post on meditation and remote viewing speculates Martian sleeping giants like Olmec heads, implying cultural echoes. September 11th threads question if NASA's findings are disclosures building on viewing data. Koinonia House's article on Mars fascination notes Sidonia's city and fort, aligning with McMonagle's shelters. NASA's September 8th advisory on Perseverance teases more details, perhaps on Sidonia analogues. This lost civilization beckons with questions. Did survivors flee to Earth, seeding myths? NASA's biosignatures suggest life persisted. McMonagle's visions imply intelligence did too. As 2025 unfolds, with rovers probing deeper, the Red Planet's secrets might rewrite our origins, urging us to heed its cautionary tale. I'm curious, where in the world are you pondering this Martian mystery right now? And what time is it there? Drop a comment to share your thoughts, and if you're hooked on unraveling these cosmic puzzles, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell to catch every new revelation we dive into next. Your insights help weave this story together, connecting us across the globe as we chase the truth. Imagine stepping into the mind of a man who claimed to traverse the cosmos without ever leaving Earth, peering into shadows that no telescope could illuminate. Ingo Swann, a New York artist turned psychic pioneer, didn't just dabble in the esoteric. He redefined it by coining the term remote viewing in the early 1970s while working under the CIA's secretive gaze. Born in 1933, Swann's life read like a bridge between art and anomaly. His paintings captured surreal visions, but his true canvas became the unseen realms of consciousness. By the time he joined the Stanford Research Institute's experiments, funded by the CIA to counter Soviet psychic programs, Swann had already demonstrated abilities that baffled skeptics. He could describe distant locations with uncanny detail, once sketching a hidden weather station in the Pacific based solely on coordinates. But it was his lunar excursions that truly ignited the fire of curiosity, revealing what he described as artificial structures on the moon's far side, domes, towers, and geometric patterns that screamed intelligent design, not random geology. Swann's moon sessions, conducted in the 1970s, weren't casual meditations. They were rigorous probes under Project Stargate's umbrella, where he was tasked with viewing targets beyond earthly bounds. In one pivotal viewing, detailed in declassified documents and his book Penetration from 1998, Swann reported being whisked mentally to the moon's hidden hemisphere, the side perpetually facing away from Earth. He described vast, dome-like enclosures shimmering under artificial light, surrounded by towers that pulsed with energy. These weren't natural craters or lava tubes. They appeared engineered, with straight lines and repetitive geometries that defied the moon's chaotic impact history. Swann sensed activity tall, humanoid entities moving with purpose, engaged in construction that suggested long-term habitation. He felt their awareness, as if they detected his psychic intrusion, a chilling moment where the observer became the observed. What if these beings weren't explorers but overseers, building bases shielded from our prying eyes? The far side's perpetual darkness from Earth's view makes it a perfect canvas for such secrets. Unlike the near side, pocked with familiar Maria, those dark basaltic plains, the far side is a rugged highland expanse, bombarded by meteors without mercy. Yet, Swann's visions aligned with real anomalies captured by probes. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, orbiting since 2009, has imaged gravitational oddities, mascons, or mass concentrations that warp the moon's gravity field, pulling spacecraft off course. These could be natural, remnants of ancient impacts, but some researchers whisper of buried structures amplifying the pull. In 2025, with the orbiter's data release from May 16th to June 15th, new images reveal subtle swirls in Reiner Gamma magnetic anomalies, where soil reflects light differently, as if shielded from solar wind. Could these be electromagnetic barriers hiding installations, much like Swann's domes? Delve into the science, and the moon's magnetism puzzles deepen. Unlike Earth, it lacks a global field, yet localized patches, some spanning hundreds of kilometers, deflect solar particles, creating those luminous swirls visible from telescopes. A 2024 study, updated in 2025, used AI to analyze Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter photos, spotting reflective dust on boulders in Reiner Gamma tied to magnetic anomalies. These aren't random, they form patterns, swirling like fingerprints on the lunar skin. Swann claimed to see entities manipulating such fields, perhaps to cloak their operations. NASA's planned Lunar Vertex mission in 2025, aims to rover these swirls. Probing their origins, will it uncover natural lava tubes or something engineered? Swan's accounts, echoed in YouTube documentaries and books like Alien Bases on the Moon, paint a moon not as a dead rock, but a strategic outpost. He described geometric grids, possibly landing pads or energy arrays, on the far side's highlands. Intriguingly, China's Chang'e 4 mission in 2019 landed there in Von Karman crater, revealing a drier subsurface than the near side. 2023 data from Yutu-2 rover, analysed deeper in 2025, showed layered regolith down to 300 meters, with hidden structures echoing radar. Echoes, could these be artificial voids? Scientists attribute it to volcanic history, but the asymmetry wetter near side, drier far hints at uneven impacts or, daringly, manipulation. Consider the South Pole Aitken Basin, the Moon's largest crater, 2,500 kilometers wide. Beneath it lies a massive anomaly, detected by Grail in 2019, a dense mass 5 times Earth's crust density, buried deep. 2025 studies suggest it's metallic, perhaps an asteroid core, but its placement sparks questions why so precisely centered. Swan viewed similar basins as excavation sites, where entities mined helium-3 abundant on the Moon for fusion power. NASA's Artemis plans, targeting South Pole landing in 2027, could probe this, but whispers in forums suggest avoidance of sensitive zones. Posts from 2025 buzz with Swan's legacy. A September 17th thread revives his Moon interview, linking domes to recent orbiter glitches, sudden data losses over far-side anomalies. Another from September 11th debates Gray's, noticing his viewing, forcing him out, implying defenses against psychic probes. A video post on September 3rd claims aliens build on the far side, citing Swan's penetration, where he sensed hostility. These aren't fringe. A August 30th post ties to eschatological leaks, wondering if moon bases oversee Earth. Lunar oddities abound. Transient phenomena like lights in Aristarchus crater, reported since the 1600s, peaking during Apollo. 2025's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter release shows fresh craters near these, as if activity stirs. The platform in Archimedes, once conspiracy fodder, resolves as a ridge, but shadows hint at more. Hoagland's mile-high spire from 1967 orbiter photos, debunked as artifact, yet 2025 enhancements show linear features. Swan's entities methodical. Building habitats suggest surveillance. Why the far side? Perfect for monitoring without interference, its highlands shielding from Earth signals. 2025's Chang'e, 6 samples from South Pole Aitken, reveal lower water, implying extraction. If bases exist, they could tap lunar resources. Helium-3 fueling interstellar tech. A June 3 Daily Mail article revives CIA claims of lunar civilizations, citing Swan's lack of proof but enduring intrigue. Amazon's remote viewing and the Moon explores his journey, questioning if we're alone. Reddit's High Strangeness from 2022 discusses his dark side aliens, views echoed in 2025 X Trends. 2023's Yutu-2 radar pierced 300 meters, revealing layers dust over basalt, with echoes of buried forms. 2025 analyses suggest impacts redistributed water, but anomalies persist. Swan's towers could be comms relays, linking to Earth bases. The Moon's asymmetry thinner far-side crust hints at ancient cataclysms or design. Grail's 2012 maps, refined in 2025, show crustal variations possibly masking structures. Swan's 1973 Jupiter probe predicted rings, verified by Voyager in 1979, proof of his accuracy. If he nailed gas giants, why doubt the Moon? X from September 17th shares Swan's Moon audio, sparking debates on entities. A September 8th post questions defenses against viewing. 2025's Why Files episode revisits, blending facts with wonder. Anomalies like Rimae Hippalis, Grabens span 250 kilometers, possibly hiding entrances. 2025's PDS release offers new views. Swan's legacy provokes. Is the Moon a watchpost? Its secrets awaiting Artemis? As probes delve, truths may emerge, reshaping our cosmic view. Beneath the familiar landscapes we tread every day, hidden from satellite eyes and human curiosity, lies a network that defies our understanding of the world above. Pat Price, a former Burbank police commissioner turned remote viewing powerhouse in the 1970s, didn't just glimpse distant horizons, he pierced the Earth's crust itself, uncovering what he believed were active, extraterrestrial installations buried deep under mountain ranges. Working independently during his time with the Stanford Research Institute, Price conducted unauthorized sessions in 1973, handing over a folder of sketches and descriptions that shocked his superiors. These weren't vague impressions. They detailed 4 specific sites, each humming with non-human activity, advanced technology, and a sense of purpose that hinted at long-term infiltration. Years later, the U.S. Army's Remote Viewing Unit at Fort Meade launched Project 8200 to verify his claims, deploying trained viewers like Mel Riley to probe the same locations. What they found wasn't dismissal, but confirmation echoes of intelligent life operating right under our feet, perhaps coordinating with forces beyond our skies. Let's begin our descent in the rugged wilds of Alaska, where Mount Hayes rises like a sentinel over the Tanana River Valley. Towering at 13,832 feet, this peak in the Alaska Range isn't just a hiker's challenge, it's a hot spot for the unexplained. Price, in his self-directed viewing, described it as a command and control hub, filled with sophisticated equipment that pulsed with energy, linking to off-world networks. He sensed tall humanoid figures moving through vast chambers carved from solid rock, their forms eerily similar to us but altered different hearts, lungs, even blood that suggested adaptation to environments we can't fathom. The inhabitants used thought transfer to influence surface dwellers, not for domination, but to subtly steer events and prevent discoveries that could expose them. Project 8200 viewers, including Riley, corroborated this, sketching identical layouts and sensing a hive of activity where humans occasionally collaborated, perhaps unknowingly, with these entities. What's fascinating is how Mount Hayes has long whispered its secrets through local lore and modern sightings. Indigenous Athabascan tribes speak of spirits dwelling in the mountains, guardians that watch from hidden realms. In recent years, especially around 2025, UFO reports have surged here, pilots spotting orbs darting from the peak slopes, vanishing into thin air. A Daily Mail article from May 25th detailed how declassified CIA documents fueled this hotspot status, with sightings tripling since the files resurfaced, turning the area into America's new alien epicenter. Conspiracy circles buzz about a black pyramid buried beneath, detected by seismic scans but never officially acknowledged, its geometry echoing ancient structures but scaled for something immense. Imagine the electromagnetic hum Price felt. Could it explain the frequent equipment malfunctions reported by hikers, compasses spinning wildly, radios crackling with static that sounds almost like voices? One YouTube documentary from 2023 even captured alleged footage of lights emerging from the base of the mountain, syncing with seismic tremors that locals swear aren't natural earthquakes. If this is a nerve center, what commands are flowing from its depths, and to whom? Venturing across the Atlantic, we arrive at Mount Perdido, straddling the Pyrenees between Spain and France, a jagged sentinel at 11,000 feet. Price viewed this as a biological research facility, where entities analyzed and modified samples, perhaps human, perhaps terrestrial life twisted into new forms. He described corridors lined with glowing panels, chambers filled with vats and instruments that hummed with bioenergy, and beings that looked deceptively human but moved with an unnatural grace. Project 8200 teams echoed this, sensing experimentation that blurred lines between species, as if the site was a lab for hybridizing life to suit unknown agendas. The Pyrenees have always cradled mysteries, ancient legends of a hidden city founded by extraterrestrial beings, tucked into the mountains' folds. Local folklore speaks of UFO windows, portals where lights dance and vanish, much like the sightings reported around Mount Perdido. In 2021, a Journal News article recounted Price's findings, linking them to cave drawings in the region depicting horned figures descending from the skies, eerily similar to the entities he described. Fast forward to 2025, and Reddit threads buzz with fresh accounts, Hikers in the Odessa y Monte Perdido National Park reporting time slips, where hours vanish in fog-shrouded valleys, emerging disoriented with vague memories of glowing caverns. Electromagnetic anomalies plague the area, compasses fail, and electronic devices drain inexplicably, as if an invisible field siphons energy. A Tubi episode from They Are Among Us explored Mount Perdido as an extraterrestrial base, tying it to increased animal mutations in nearby ecosystems, deer with odd growths, birds exhibiting unnatural behaviors. Could these be side effects of biological tinkering leaking to the surface? The mountain's karst caves, riddled with unexplored depths, might serve as natural camouflages for entrances, luring the curious while guarding secrets that could rewrite our understanding of life itself. Shifting continents to Africa, we encounter Mount Nyangani, often misspelled as Nyani in older transcripts, the highest peak in Zimbabwe at 8,504 feet, shrouded in mist and myth. Price pinpointed this as a manufacturing center, where advanced machinery churned out devices defying human physics, perhaps tools for interstellar communication or manipulation of matter. He sensed vast assembly lines deep underground, operated by entities with elongated limbs and piercing eyes, producing tech that hummed with otherworldly power. Verification through Project 8200 revealed identical visions, chambers filled with metallic hums, air thick with ozone, and a sense of relentless production aimed at sustaining a global network. Known locally as the mountain that swallows people, Mount Nyangani lives up to its name with a history of vanishings, hikers lost in sudden fogs, emerging days later with no memory, or never returning at all. Shona tribes regard it as sacred, home to ancestral spirits that demand respect. Breaking taboos like whistling or pointing can summon disorientation, or worse. In 2025, TikTok videos from Gemini Blessed TV linked these legends to Price's bases, suggesting the swallowing is a portal or force field pulling intruders into hidden realms. A YouTube documentary from 2023 explored disappearances, noting electromagnetic interference that scrambles GPS and causes vivid hallucinations, visions of glowing figures or underground lights. Quora discussions attribute fog to natural weather, but anomalies persist. Animals avoiding certain slopes, unexplained seismic rumbles, and reports of metallic tastes in the air during storms. If this is a factory, what are they building? Devices to influence weather, mines, or perhaps portals that explain the time slips reported by survivors. Our final stop leads to the vast Australian outback, where Price identified a deep space communication relay under unnamed mountains, likely tied to Mount Zile or the infamous Pine Gap facility. He viewed it as a hub for interstellar signals, with towering antennas buried in rock, relaying messages across the galaxy. Entities here were coordinators, their tech bridging worlds with effortless precision. Project 8200 confirmed vast relay systems, sensing data flows that bypassed lightspeed limits. Pine Gap, officially a US, Australian satellite tracking station near Alice Springs, has long fueled rumours of underground levels housing alien tech. A 2025 IFL Science article dubbed it Australia's Area 51, with restricted airspace and reports of orbs entering the ground. Indigenous Arrente people speak of dreamtime beings in the mountains, guardians of hidden knowledge. Subterranean Base's website notes Nullarbor Cave UFO sightings and disappearances, linking to underground networks. 2025 X posts discuss drones scouting bases, perhaps retrieving tech from these sites. Electromagnetic glitches plague the area, radios tuning to static whispers, compasses erratic near certain ridges. These 4 sites form a network, each specialized yet interconnected. Command in Alaska, biology in the Pyrenees, manufacturing in Zimbabwe, communications in Australia. Price's revelations, verified by Project 8200, suggest a shadow infrastructure influencing global events. Modern anomalies, disappearances, UFOs, tech failures hint at leaks from below. A YouTube video from 2024 exposed Project 8200, detailing how viewers like Skip Atwater organized the verification, finding humans alongside aliens in collaborative setups. Mysterious Universe podcast from October 2024 discussed Price's rogue views, tying to global UFO surges. What if these bases monitor our progress, intervening subtly? Price died mysteriously in 1975. Heart attack after viewing coincidence or silencing. 2025 Reddit threads speculate on bases expanding, linking to increased quakes. UFO Insight articles from 2024 explore Price's revelations, suggesting mountains as portals. This network invites endless wonder. Are we cohabitants or unwitting subjects? As seismic sensors pick up unexplained rumbles and skies fill with unexplained lights, the ground beneath might hold the key to our cosmic neighbors. The web of these installations, Alaska's command, Spain's labs, Africa's factories, Australia's relays, suggests a purpose that transcends our understanding, perhaps syncing with the stars as Comet 3I/Atlas draws near. I'm curious to know, where are you tuning in from as you ponder these hidden depths, and what time is it there? Share in the comments. Your corner of the world adds a unique thread to this unfolding mystery, connecting us all in the search for answers. Hidden within the folds of our solar system's vast expanse lies a pattern that's been whispering to those willing to listen. An intricate web of surveillance and influence that stretches from the crimson dunes of Mars to the shadowed craters of the Moon, and down into the very bedrock of Earth itself. What if the ruins we dismiss as ancient geological quirks on the Red Planet aren't remnants of a long-extinct native civilization, but deliberate markers left by overseers who've been shaping our cosmic neighborhood for eons? The pyramidal forms McMonagall glimpsed in his remote viewing sessions, those towering structures dwarfing anything humanity has built, could be more than shelters for a dying race. They might be nodes in a grand network, engineered to monitor planetary shifts and relay data across interstellar voids. Similarly, the lunar domes and towers Ingo Swann perceived pulsating with unseen energy on the far side aren't isolated anomalies. They're likely command outposts, strategically placed to oversee Earth without detection, tapping into the Moon's gravitational peculiarities that have puzzled scientists for decades. And beneath our feet, the underground installations Pat Price and others mapped from Alaska's command hubs to Africa's manufacturing centers form the terrestrial anchors of this system, blending seamlessly with natural formations while humming with activity that defies our technological grasp. This isn't a haphazard collection of oddities. It's a deliberate architecture, a solar system transformed into an alien domain where Earth dangles as the prize jewel. Consider the implications. If Mars's Cydonia region, with its face-like mesa and geometric alignments, was once a thriving outpost now reduced to ruins, what catastrophe or calculated withdrawal left it barren? NASA's Perseverance rover, in 2025, unearthed organic compounds in Jezero crater, hinting at past life. But what if those biosignatures are traces of engineered experiments, not natural evolution? The Moon's mascons, those dense gravitational pulls, could be the buried remnants of massive installations, their weight distorting orbits as a side effect of powering surveillance grids. And on Earth, the electromagnetic disturbances around these mountain bases, compasses spinning, electronics failing might be leaks from energy fields designed to cloak entrances and influence minds from afar. At the heart of this network pulses an agenda that's been unfolding in the shadows for centuries. Covert control, not through overt domination, but through subtle infiltration that guides humanity, like pieces on a galactic chessboard. The zoo hypothesis offers a chilling framework for this advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. Aware of our existence, choose to observe us from afar, treating Earth as a protected preserve, where natural development must proceed without interference. Proposed by radio astronomer John A. Ball in 1973, it suggests these beings enforce a universal policy of non-contact, perhaps through a hegemonic empire or automated sentinels, to preserve diversity and prevent cultural contamination. But what if this zoo isn't benevolent? What if it's a laboratory, where we're subjects in experiments, our progress monitored and nudged to serve larger goals? Ball himself floated a morbid variant. Earth as a controlled environment, accelerated toward maturity to avoid self-destruction, all while under the watchful eyes of entities who view us as intriguing specimens. Critics argue such a pact couldn't hold dissident aliens might break ranks, or the sheer timescale of millions of years would erode any agreement. Yet, if superintelligences enforce it, merging into vast networks that prioritize long-term galactic harmony, the isolation becomes plausible. Science fiction has long toyed with this. Star Trek's Prime Directive forbids interference with developing worlds, while Olaf Stapledon's Star Maker envisions symbiotic races hiding from pre-utopian primitives until they're ready. In E.N.M., Banks's Culture series, advanced societies leave Earth as a control group untouched for observation. These narratives mirror real SETI debates, where messaging extraterrestrial intelligence, METI, risks endangering humanity by broadcasting our presence without consensus. Apply this to our solar system, and the pattern sharpens. Mars as a failed exhibit, its civilization preserved in ruins after overstepping bounds. The Moon as the zookeeper's lodge, with its anomalous magnetic swirls shielding bases from detection. Earth's underground network then becomes the ground-level handlers, subtly influencing politics, technology, and society to keep us contained. Comet 3I/Atlas, approaching in 2025, fits as a supervisor vessel, not a random wanderer, but a scheduled inspection, its interstellar origins masking intelligent guidance. Harvard scientists have speculated on such objects as potential alien probes, with Avi Loeb warning of hidden threats in their trajectories. If Atlas harbors entities arriving for a final phase, it could signal the end of observation and the start of integration or culling. Humanity's surveillance isn't new. It's woven into our history, like threads in a tapestry we can't fully see. Ancient texts hint at covert overseers, Sumerian Anunnaki descending to mine gold but really engineering societies. Egyptian gods like Thoth, imparting knowledge while enforcing hierarchies. The Dogon tribe's Sirius lore, detailing a companion star invisible to the naked eye, suggests leaked intel from stellar visitors. Fast forward to the 20th century, and deals allegedly struck in the 1950s Eisenhower meeting Greys at Holloman Air Force Base. Trading tech for abduction rights echo this pattern of quiet pacts. Whistleblowers like Bob Lazar describe reverse-engineered craft at S4, hinting at ongoing exchanges where aliens provide gravity manipulation in exchange for biological samples. In 2025, these theories gain traction on platforms like X, where users discuss E-bends, extraterrestrial biological entities, sending threats, with Comet Atlas as a vanguard. Posts warn of infiltration over invasion, citing Q-drops as alien countermeasures. One thread speculates trillions of microscopic alloy fragments embedded worldwide, self-reconfiguring to form a surveillance shell, cooling surroundings and interfacing with larger craft. Another links orbital tracks 660 unidentified paths, synced with Earth's rotation to a planetary grid, with transient lights on old plates as alignment signals. These aren't isolated. They form a Mobius field, a loop where microscopic nodes on ground connect to orbital mainframes, stabilizing climate or observing in real time. Our technology and politics bear the marks of this guidance. The rapid leap from horse-drawn carriages to smartphones in a century? Not organic evolution, but seeded advancements, nuclear power from 1945 Roswell crashes, microchips from integrated circuits allegedly reverse-engineered. Global conflicts, from world wars to current drone swarms, could be engineered to harvest loose emotional energy feeding these entities. Religions, too, as control matrices. Biblical Elohim as plural gods intervening, edited councils suppressing Gnostic texts on human divinity. The agenda's endgame? Galactic integration as a subsidiary, our independence surrendered for advancement. Atlas's arrival coincides with this shift. Supervisors evaluating readiness. X-users theorize fake invasions in November 2025, using comets as cover for holographic deceptions. Time traveler claims and Harvard warnings amplify this, suggesting unknown objects approaching as harbingers. Yet, cracks appear. UAP disclosures. Consciousness shifts via meditation, unlocking suppressed DNA. Pleiadian or Arcturian contacts urge sovereignty, countering Orion divided by Draco control. Solar cycles in 2025 amplify awakenings, weakening the matrix. This covert tapestry, Mars as warning, Moon as watchtower, Earth as lab invites us to question, are we players or pawns? As Atlas nears, the veil thins, revealing a universe where control masquerades as observation, and our next step could shatter the illusion. What if the most profound battles of our time aren't fought with drones, over contested skies or sanctions across diplomatic cables, but in the silent theatre of the mind itself? Consciousness, that elusive spark we all carry, isn't locked away in the grey folds of our brains like a solitary flame. It's a vast, interconnected field, rippling through the universe like an invisible ocean. Remote viewing, as we've explored, offers a glimpse of this. Minds reaching across voids, pulling back details from places and times untouched by light or sound. But imagine if this field isn't just a tool for human curiosity. It's the ultimate weapon, a domain where advanced intelligences wage war without a single shot fired. In the visions from that fateful September session in 2025, Dick's perception of consciousness wormholes wasn't mere metaphor. It was a window into how these entities might slip into our thoughts, unseen and unfelt, reshaping our reality from the inside out. Let's linger on those wormholes for a moment, not as the dramatic portals of Hollywood, but as something far more intimate and insidious. Dick described them as twisting pathways, not carved from matter but woven from awareness itself, bridges where intention flows freely, defying the rigid laws of space and time we cling to. In the quiet of that viewing room, he sensed a deliberate architecture, tunnels that connected distant stars to the quiet corners of human psyches, allowing information, influence, even identity to traverse without friction. This isn't fantasy. It's echoing cutting-edge whispers from the frontiers of physics. Just this July 3rd, 2025, a groundbreaking theory surfaced, unifying quantum mechanics with general relativity through the ER equals EPR conjecture, a bold idea positing that wormholes, those Einstein-Rosen bridges, are fundamentally entangled quantum particles. Picture it, what we call entanglement, where particles mirror each other instantly across vast distances, might actually be microscopic wormholes threading the fabric of reality. If consciousness emerges from quantum processes in the brain, as some neuroscientists now propose, then these bridges could extend to awareness, letting external minds peek, prod, or even puppeteer ours. Envision the scale. Aliens, or whatever these antenna-crowned figures are, operating on thought processes so alien to ours that time itself bends differently for them. The Fermi paradox, that nagging question of why the universe seems so eerily silent despite billions of potentially habitable worlds, finds a haunting resolution here. In a June 11th, 2025, piece from Phys, org marking 75 years since Enrico Fermi's offhand query, "Where is everybody?" Harvard's Avi Loeb suggests advanced civilizations might think in timescales that dwarf ours, their years spanning our millennia. Slower minds, pondering decisions over eons, could view humanity as a fleeting experiment, our frantic innovations mere blinks in their deliberation. Or faster ones, processing thoughts at quantum speeds, slip through our defenses like ghosts, manipulating without us ever registering the intrusion. Quora threads from early 2025 buzz with this. Users debating how Fermi's silence might stem from aliens whose cognition is so accelerated they perceive our broadcasts as static noise, intervening only when we near a tipping point like now, with Comet 3I/Atlas drawing near. What if Dick's wormholes are their highways, allowing a single entity to seed doubts in a leader's mind during a crisis, or amplify fear across a crowd, all while we chalk it up to groupthink? This battlefield tilts toward the unseen because consciousness isn't confined. It's non-local, a property of the cosmos itself. Dean Radin's work at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, building on decades of psi research, shows meditators influencing random number generators across rooms, subtle effects that hint at mind over matter on a quantum level. Extend that, and you see how wormholes could serve as backdoors, not physical tunnels, but entanglement links where an alien observer entangles their neural field with ours, implanting suggestions that feel like our own epiphanies. In an August 21st, 2025, preprint on Zenodo, researchers propose a framework uniting wormhole physics with quantum chaos and entanglement, suggesting these structures could underpin entropic gravity, the very force shaping our universe. If gravity emerges from entangled wormholes, why not consciousness? An entity could tunnel into your stream of thought during a vulnerable moment, say, scrolling social media late at night, whispering unease about the world's chaos, nudging you toward isolation or division. It's gentle at first, a fleeting worry, but over time, it builds, engineering the very crises we blame on human folly. Now, shift your gaze to Edward's vision, that gut-wrenching sense of demonic possessions, not the Hollywood spectacle of spinning heads and guttural voices, but a sly, pervasive takeover targeting the core of who we are. He described it as forces latching onto our energy centers, those chakra points, with a malice that felt technological, not supernatural. Systematic hacks disrupting the flows that keep us grounded, intuitive, connected. In the dim light of the viewing room, Edward's voice cracked as he sketched shadowy tendrils coiling around human forms, siphoning vitality and inserting foreign impulses. What if these demons aren't spirits from some fiery abyss, but projections from those antennaed beings aboard the Comet, using wormholes to deliver payloads straight to our neural wiring? Psychological explanations have long danced around possession, often landing on dissociative disorders or cultural suggestion. But 2025 brings sharper lenses. A December 17th, 2024, article in the Journal of Psychology and Theology, updated with fresh data this year, explores how beliefs in demonic influence intersect with mental health, noting that symptoms like hallucinations and antisocial outbursts mirror schizophrenia or temporal lobe epilepsy, yet persist across cultures untouched by modern diagnostics. What if the trigger isn't purely endogenous? Edward's possessions evoke a tech intrusion. Imagine nanotech or quantum signals riding those wormholes, mimicking neural misfires to implant commands. A June 20th, 2025, piece from Status Test on Unveiling the Mysterious Signs lists clues like sudden personality shifts or aversion to sacred symbols, but ties them to unexplained electromagnetic exposure fields that could scramble brainwaves, much like the anomalies around underground bases. Delve into the chakras, and the intrigue deepens. They're not woo-woo relics, but potential neurological interfaces, as 2025 research increasingly suggests. An April 9th paper by Sri Amit Ray proposes a neural geometry of consciousness, mapping 256 chakras to brain regions and topological structures, where energy flows correlate with synaptic firing patterns. The Agya chakra, or third eye, aligns with the pineal gland, that pea-sized sentinel regulating sleep and intuition. Disrupt it, and clarity dissolves into fog. An August 6th, 2025, study in the International Research Journal of Modernization in Engineering Technology and Science correlates the Agya with prefrontal cortex activity, showing meditation on it enhances focus and reduces anxiety effects that vanish under stress, as if jammed. Edward sensed attacks here first, tendrils probing these points, severing links to what yogic traditions call the cosmic prana, the universal life force. Picture a world where these assaults play out daily, unnoticed. You're in a heated online debate, heart racing, words sharpening into barbs. Is that your frustration, or an implanted spike in your solar plexus chakra, the Manipura, which governs willpower and ties to the adrenal glands? August 28th, 2025. Medium article on chakra work through the lens of modern psychology notes how deep breathing recalibrates the nervous system, shifting from fight or flight, exactly what an external manipulator might suppress to keep you reactive, divided. Global crises amplify this. The Ukraine drone swarms of September 10th, 2025, weren't just tactical, they flooded collective awareness with terror, a louche harvest per esoteric law, where fear's energy sustains higher entities. But if aliens view us through the Fermi lens as a petri dish experiment, slow thinkers pondering over centuries while we scramble in days, their manipulations become clinical. Tweaking chakra flows to test resilience, like scientists adjusting variables in a lab. Quora's 2025 exchanges on Fermi's silence speculate aliens with hyper-fast cognition processing in femtoseconds could orchestrate this undetected, their thoughts manifesting as possessions we mislabel spiritual. Slower ones, deliberating eons, might seed long-game influences. Religions framing surrender as virtue, echoing chakra suppression in ascetic practices that dull intuition. A March 4, 2025, blog from My Sustaining Grace warns how equating mental illness with possession stigmatizes healing, yet overlooks how cultural narratives could mask tech intrusions, symptoms like those in the Erling possession case of 1928, where Emma Schmidt endured 70 hours of exorcism, her convulsions now resembling induced seizures via electromagnetic pulses. X posts from January 2025 capture the zeitgeist. One from Zeta Gray, on January 24th, claims alien implants enable seamless neural integration for mind control, even over presidents. Another from Bonky on January 21st calls the simulation a MK Ultra facade for quantum consciousness tweaks by ancient aliens. These aren't rants. They mirror a growing unease, with users sharing meditation breakthroughs that eject foreign thoughts, aligning with chakra realignment techniques in a June 2nd, 2025, guide from mindful meditation, long-term practitioners showing brain changes via fMRI, even at rest. The battlefield escalates in subtle ways. Consider the rise in targeted individuals, folks reporting voice-to-skull tech, or Havana syndrome-like zaps, dismissed as psychosis, but clustering near base sites like Mount Hayes. A 2025 Psychology Today update on differential diagnoses for possession includes trauma-induced dissociation, but adds emerging data on directed energy weapons mimicking spiritual oppression. Edwards' tendrils? Perhaps quantum signals via wormholes, entangling victim neurons to broadcast commands, faster alien minds, executing in bursts we perceive as intrusive thoughts. Tying to Fermi. If aliens experiment on us, their thought divergence explains the quiet. A July 6, 2025, Against Prof. Phil post on Everybody Is Already. Here posits a neo-Kantian twist: aliens exist in our reality but perceived differently, their cognition rendering us invisible until we evolve. Slower thinkers might wait millennia for contact. Faster ones manipulate mid-thought, possessions as beta tests for control. Quora users in April 2025 liken it to ants under a microscope. Are crises engineered to study resilience? Chakras as variables for emotional output. Personalize it. Ever had a gut feeling dismissed as anxiety, only to regret ignoring it? That's your root chakra, Muladhara, whispering warnings disrupted. It leaves you unmoored, ripe for influence. A November 12, 2024, PMC study refreshed this year on spinal energy dynamics via yoga. Breathing shows chakra activation alters autonomic responses, countering stress that wormholes might amplify. In 2025's turbulent skies, with Atlas looming, these attacks could peak. Possessions spiking during eclipses, when Earth's field weakens, allowing easier breaches. Yet, hope flickers in resistance, cultivating awareness fortifies the field. The TSC Barcelona plenary on August 5, 2025, delved into quantum fields and consciousness, vibrations in spacetime mirroring chakra flows. If wormholes entangle us, so can we entangle back meditation as counter-hack. Reclaiming the ocean. As entities near, the question hangs. Will we recognize the battlefield or surrender to whispers that feel like home? April 24th, 2025, Instagram reel from Dr. William Brown posits consciousness beyond the skull, woven into quantum wormholes testable in labs via counterfactual communication, a ghostly signals defying locality. This aligns with Edwards' intrusions, possessions as counterfactual hacks, where the demon influences without direct contact, echoing a March 20th, 2023 Vice article on traversable quantum wormholes, now advancing in 2025 simulations. Global ties. Ukraine's barrages, EU stockpiles, fear waves harvested via chakra overload, root and heart centers flooded to paralyze action. Fermi's morbid variant, where the experiment, manipulations, testing if consciousness evolves or crumbles. X's January posts warn of implants for presidential control, quantum tweaks as the true game. In this war, victory lies in awakening, tuning chakras like antennas, spotting wormhole whispers, As 2025 unfolds, with Atlas's tail brightening, the field hums with possibility. Will we claim our ocean, or let it drown us in illusion? Word count: 2,347. Imagine your mind as a vast, uncharted ocean, its depths holding secrets that ripple beyond the confines of your skull, connecting to something far greater, a cosmic tapestry woven through space and time. This isn't poetry. It's the essence of what remote viewers tap into, a consciousness that isn't locked in flesh, but flows like a universal current, accessible to those trained to navigate it. In the pivotal September 2025 session targeting Comet 3I/Atlas, the viewers didn't just glimpse alien forms, they stumbled into a battlefield where human awareness itself is the prize. Dick's visions of consciousness, wormholes, ethereal tunnels linking minds across galaxies, Edward's chilling encounters with demonic-like possessions, disrupting our inner energy centers, and the eerie sense of chakra attacks severing our intuitive ties, paint a picture not of physical invasion, but of a war waged within the very fabric of our thoughts. What if the greatest threat isn't ships descending from the stars, but an insidious manipulation of the human psyche, orchestrated by entities who understand consciousness better than we ever could? Let's start with the radical idea that consciousness isn't just a byproduct of brain chemistry, but a fundamental property of the universe, like gravity or light. Quantum physicists like Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff have proposed since the 1990s that consciousness might arise from quantum processes in microtubules within neurons, potentially linking to a non-local field, a cosmic internet of awareness. Remote viewing, with its documented successes under CIA protocols, suggests this field allows trained minds to access information across vast distances or even time. Joseph McMonagle's 72 to 88% accuracy rates in describing hidden targets, verified by declassified Stanford Research Institute data, imply our minds can tap into something beyond physical senses. In 2025, the International Remote Viewing Association's conference in Cloudcroft, New Mexico, showcased fMRI studies where viewers' brains lit up in sync with distant stimuli, hinting at neural pathways interfacing with a universal consciousness field. If true, this field could be a playground or a battleground for entities with advanced mastery over its mechanics. Dick's perception of consciousness wormholes during the Atlas session takes this to a mind-bending level. He described pathways not of matter or energy, but of pure awareness, twisting through dimensions to connect distant intelligences. These aren't sci-fi portals but conduits for thought, allowing instant communication or manipulation across light years. A 2025 Quora thread explores this, theorizing aliens might operate on slower or faster cognitive timescales, perceiving our actions as if in slow motion, giving them centuries to plan interventions undetectable to us. Imagine entities aboard Comet 3I/Atlas, detected by NASA's Atlas telescope on July 1st. Using such wormholes to probe human minds, their green-tinged coma captured in Gemini South images on August 27th, masking tech that interfaces with this field. The James Webb Space Telescope's data, revealing elevated water and carbon dioxide in the comet's composition, suggests an ancient origin, possibly carrying devices that resonate with consciousness itself, not just ice. Now, consider Edward's visions of demonic possessions targeting chakra points. In Eastern traditions, chakras are energy hubs, root, sacral, heart, throat, and beyond, linking body to spirit, grounding us to intuition and cosmic awareness. Ancient texts like the Upanishads describe them as spinning wheels, each tied to aspects of existence, from survival to enlightenment. Edward sensed these as targets, not by supernatural spirits, but by technological intrusions, entities hacking into our bioenergetic systems to sever our deeper connections. A 2025 Reddit post on High Strangeness speculates such attacks could use electromagnetic fields to disrupt neural coherence, mimicking possession by inducing fear, confusion, or apathy. This aligns with reports of unexplained anxiety, spikes worldwide, documented in 2025 mental health surveys, where people describe feeling watched or influenced without cause. Could these be side effects of tech pulsing from underground bases, like those Pat Price mapped beneath Mount Hayes or Nyangani? The chakra attacks Edward perceived suggest a deliberate strategy to isolate us from intuition, the gut sense that warns of unseen dangers. Neuroscience backs this. The vagus nerve, linked to gut-brain communication, influences emotional regulation and instinct. If chakras are bioenergetic interfaces, as some integrative medicine studies propose, disrupting them could dampen this system, leaving us reliant on external narratives, media, governments, or science that can be controlled. A 2025 X thread links this to global unrest, noting how drone swarms in Ukraine, escalating since September 10th, coincide with reports of soldiers experiencing sudden disorientation, as if their instincts were scrambled. The European Union's July stockpiling mandates for mass casualties hint at anticipating more than physical wounds, perhaps psychological fallout from such manipulations. This battlefield extends to global crises, which may not be as organic as they seem. Climate change, often blamed on human industry, shows anomalies. A 2025 Nature study notes accelerated Arctic ice melt defying models, with electromagnetic anomalies near Mount Hayes correlating with weather shifts. Political polarization, Brexit, US. Election divides feels amplified, as if nudged by external forces. A Quora post theorizes aliens exploit emotional loosh, energy from conflict, to sustain their operations, a concept echoed in Robert Monroe's 1985 book Far Journeys about psychic explorations. The Russian drone barrage on September 10th, with 360 drones, wasn't just tactical, it fueled economic chaos, spiking oil prices and fear. Perfect conditions for psychological manipulation. These crises, climate, war, division, could be engineered to weaken resistance, making humanity ripe for intervention. The zoo hypothesis, proposed by John Ball in 1973, posits Earth as a monitored preserve, but a darker variant suggests we're being groomed for integration into a galactic system. Comet 3I/Atlas, nearing perihelion on October 30th, might carry supervisors to enact this. Its volatile, rich composition, a cover for tech that manipulates consciousness fields. A 2025 YouTube documentary on Invasion theorizes such comets as Trojan horses, broadcasting signals that alter perceptions, making us see saviors instead of conquerors. Wormholes, as Dick described, could be backdoors into our minds. A 2025 study from the Institute of Noetic Sciences explores non-locality, suggesting consciousness operates beyond space-time, accessible via quantum entanglement. Aliens might use this to implant thoughts, decisions feeling natural, but serving their agenda. A Reddit thread from September 15th discusses abductions as consciousness hacks, with mists or lights shifting awareness, aligning with Edward's possessions. The Fermi paradox's great filter theory adds weight. If advanced civilizations self-destruct, manipulation could ensure we hit that wall, keeping us subordinate. Chakra disruptions could sever our link to cosmic intelligence, as mystics claim these centers connect to universal knowledge. A 2025 Medium article on energy healing notes increased reports of blocked chakras, correlating with urban electromagnetic spikes near supposed bases like Mount Perdido. This isn't supernatural, it's tech, possibly nanites or frequency pulses from underground, as speculated in a 2025 X post about alloy fragments forming global surveillance nets. The psychological toll is evident. 2025 mental health data shows a 30% rise in unexplained anxiety disorders, often near anomaly zones like Mount Nyangani, where hikers report time slips and dread. These could be test runs, softening us for Atlas's arrival, its entities coordinating with bases to finalize control. A TikTok trend from September 13th links meditation disruptions to external interference, with users failing to reach deep states once routine. This war isn't fought with weapons, but with thoughts, emotions, instincts. Religions might be early control systems, biblical Elohim, as plural entities shaping belief, per a 2025 Ancient Origins article. Tech leaps microchips. AI could be seeded to create dependencies, as Bob Lazar claimed in 1989 about reverse-engineered craft. The 5 grams rollout, sparking conspiracy fears, might amplify these fields, with towers near bases like Pine Gap boosting signals. As Atlas nears, its green glow cyanide emissions per NASA might mask psi-tech resonating with human neural frequencies. The battle for consciousness is the ultimate frontier, where our freedom hangs by a thread, manipulated by those who see our minds as clay. Have you ever paused amid the chaos of a breaking news alert? Another devastating flood, a geopolitical standoff teetering on the brink, or an economic tremor rippling through markets, and wondered if there's a hidden rhythm to it all, a conductor orchestrating the discord from the shadows. In the intricate dance of global events unfolding in 2025, what if the storms raging across continents and the conflicts igniting in hotspots aren't mere accidents of nature or human folly, but meticulously crafted tools in a grand psychological arsenal? Picture this. Climate anomalies that seem to accelerate beyond scientific predictions, wars that erupt with uncanny timing, and societal fractures that deepen just as unity is needed most. These aren't random, they're engineered crises, designed not to conquer through force, but to erode our collective will, priming humanity for a revelation that could redefine our existence. Let's peel back the layers, starting with the climate itself, that ever-shifting canvas where the first strokes of this warfare appear. 2025 has already etched itself as a year of unrelenting extremes. Record-breaking heat waves scorching Europe in July, with temperatures topping 113 degrees Fahrenheit in Spain, forcing mass evacuations and straining power grids to the breaking point. Meanwhile, the Arctic's ice melt has surged 30% faster than models forecasted, unleashing methane bursts that amplify warming in a vicious loop. But here's where curiosity beckons. What if these aren't solely the offspring of industrial emissions, but amplified by deliberate interventions? Conspiracy whispers, amplified on fringes of the web, point to geoengineering gone rogue. Cloud seeding operations, once dismissed as benign rainmakers, now accused of fueling flash floods like those in Texas this July, where over 20 inches fell in hours, claiming lives and sparking theories of government weather weapons. Florida's Attorney General even flagged a new law banning atmospheric modifications, warning against bending to the climate cult, while online forums erupt with claims of chemtrails, those lingering aircraft contrails allegedly laced with chemicals to alter weather patterns. These ideas aren't born in vacuum. They stem from real tech like solar geoengineering, where scientists debate injecting aerosols into the stratosphere to reflect sunlight and cool the planet. A 2025 Axios report highlights how extreme weather has thrust this once fringe concept into mainstream debate, dividing experts while fueling online paranoia about deep state control. Imagine underground installations, like those remote viewers sketched beneath Mount Perdido, pulsing with energy fields that tweak atmospheric ions, steering storms toward populated areas to sow despair. The goal? Not destruction for its own sake, but psychological softening communities, battered by natural disasters, become more pliable, desperate for saviors who might emerge from the very shadows engineering the turmoil. NPR's 2023 analysis, still resonant in 2025, notes how conspiracy theories around weather modification hinder real climate solutions, turning tools like cloud seeding used for decades to boost precipitation into boogeymen that distract from fossil fuel accountability. Transitioning from skies to battlefields, wars in 2025 reveal a similar undercurrent of manipulation, where psychological warfare masquerades as geopolitical inevitability. The Russia-Ukraine conflict, now grinding into its fourth year, saw a massive escalation, with over 360 drones swarming Ukrainian skies on September 10th, igniting refineries and crippling energy supplies. But peel deeper. The International Crisis Group's 10 conflicts to watch in 2025 lists this, alongside Middle East flare-ups and Sahel chaos, warning of a volatile world where Trump's return adds unpredictability. What if these aren't organic escalations, but amplified by subconscious nudges, leaders gripped by unexplained paranoia, decisions swayed by implanted doubts via those consciousness wormholes Dick perceived, forums buzz with theories of alien orchestration, where wars harvest loosh, that emotional energy from suffering, sustaining ethereal entities while weakening human resolve. Project 2025, that blueprint for a conservative US overhaul, gets twisted in conspiracy circles as a plutocrat-funded plot to dismantle climate action, per the bulletin of the atomic scientist's August analysis. It assaults UN Agenda 2030's sustainability goals as a Trojan horse for socialism, feeding fears of one world government while ignoring the irony of its own orchestrated agenda. In this light, conflicts like the Israel-Iran proxy wars or Balkan schisms become test beds for psychological ops, media floods with divisive narratives, chakra disruptions, amplifying tribalism, turning neighbors into enemies. The global risks. Report 2025 from the World Economic Forum paints a sobering picture, a world of growing divisions where environmental degradation intertwines with geopolitical instability, risking crises that overwhelm systems. Countries like Somalia and Yemen, topping Concern Worldwide's list of highest climate risks, face compounded disasters, floods displacing millions while conflicts hinder aid, as if designed to maximize human vulnerability. Economic issues weave into this tapestry, engineered to foster dependency and despair. The UN Foundation's 5 Global Issues to Watch in 2025 highlights financing for development as critical, yet 2025 sees deepening inequality, with trade wars and sanctions exacerbating food crises. The FSIN's Global Report on Food Crises 2025 notes conflicts, economic shocks, and climate extremes driving hunger for hundreds of millions, with forced displacement amplifying the toll. Conspiracy lenses see this as deliberate. Underground bases, influencing markets through thought manipulation, crashing economies to cull resistance. A systematic review in the Journal of Environmental Psychology from 2023, still relevant maps, how climate conspiracy beliefs, like global warming is a hoax, correlate with denialism, hindering action. In 2025, these beliefs spike around events like Hurricane Helene's floods, with theories of government weather control going viral on Meta, as Global Witness predicts worsening disinformation without fact-checking. Preparations tell a subtler story. The UK's emergency broadcast tests, EU hospital stockpiles for mass casualties, and U.S. FEMA's 14-day kits aren't just prudent, they're rehearsals for engineered collapse. The Stimson Center's Top 10 Global Risks for 2025 warns of a rogue America unraveling order. But what if that's the point? Psychological warfare softens us, crises creating desperation for solutions from those pulling strings. Marjorie Taylor Greene's July 7th tweet fueling weather conspiracies after Texas floods exemplifies this, banning modifications while ignoring climate realities, diverting blame. Washington's Post notes how these theories, from chemtrails to geoengineering, have moved to state laws, like Florida's ban on atmospheric injections. Global Guardian's October 28th Digest calls 2025 the age of polycrisis, with wars in the Middle East and Sahel intersecting climate woes. Echo's July 23rd piece ties climate to conflict, noting NATO's defense spending debates amid Italy's climate split. Humanitarian Action's December 4th overview warns 7 countries face repeated crises without adaptation. The climate-intensifying disasters. These aren't coincidences. They're symphonies of engineered despair, psychological blows weakening us for the Comet supervisors. Harvard's comparative study on climate conspiracies across 8 countries shows they're more prevalent in some, like the US, where denialism thrives. A data-driven look from ZeroCam reveals how online theories impact geoengineering funding, conspiracy fears stalling research. Greenpeace Canada's piece asks why conspiracies outpace science belief, noting far-right weaponization against solutions. In this web, crises are weapons, climate to instill helplessness, wars to harvest fear, economics to breed division. As 2025's polycrisis builds, the curious mind wonders who benefits. And what's the endgame when the veil lifts? The echoes of ancient whispers have always lingered in the dim corners of human memory, preserved not in words but in strokes of ochre and charcoal on cavern walls, where our ancestors captured visions that defy the tidy narratives of history. Consider the petroglyphs of Sago Canyon in Utah, etched some 7,500 years ago by the Fremont people. Towering figures with large eyes, antenna-like protrusions sprouting from their heads, bodies elongated and armless, hovering in ethereal poses that suggest not earthly hunters or gods, but visitors from realms beyond. These aren't isolated doodles. Similar depictions emerge across the globe, like the 10,000-year-old rock paintings in Chakra, India, where archaeologists uncovered images of humanoid beings descending from disc-shaped objects, wielding what appear to be weapons or tools, their forms crowned with branching appendages that mirror the antenna. Nim sketched in his 2025 remote viewing session of Comet 3 I/Atlas. In Algeria's Tassili Nadjer Plateau, cave art from 9,500 BC shows flying humans or entities with rounded heads and elongated limbs, scenes that archaeologists like J.R. Bagat interpret as potential extraterrestrial encounters, blending seamlessly with local lore of sky beings influencing early societies. What compels these prehistoric artists, separated by oceans and millennia, to render such consistent motifs? Were they chronicling random hallucinations, or documenting cyclical visitations, waves of intervention that reset human progress like tides washing over sandcastles? These cycles aren't mere artistic coincidences. They suggest a pattern of engagement, where entities appear at pivotal moments in human development, imparting knowledge or enforcing boundaries before retreating into the ether. The Lascaux caves in France, dating back 17,000 years, hide subtler hints, figures with horned or antennaed heads amid herds of animals, as if overseeing migrations or hunts from an elevated plane. In Australia's Wandjina rock art, created 3,000 to 4,000 years ago by Aboriginal peoples, ethereal beings with halo-like auras and no mouths descend from the skies, credited with creating landscapes and laws, their forms echoing the silent, observing presences remote viewers like Swan encountered on the moon's far side. These aren't gods in the traditional sense. They're instructors or wardens, appearing in bursts that align with archaeological shifts, the dawn of agriculture, the rise of cities, or cataclysms that wipe slates clean. Imagine a rhythm. Every few millennia, when humanity teeters on the edge of discovery or destruction, these antenna-bearing figures materialize, steering us back onto a predetermined path, their interventions etched into stone as warnings or records for future generations. This cyclical narrative draws a haunting parallel to Mars, that rust-hued sentinel in our night sky, where remote viewing sessions unveiled a failed precedent, a civilization advanced beyond our own, reduced to skeletal remnants in underground bunkers as their world suffocated. McMonagle's 1984 glimpse of tall humanoids perishing amid environmental collapse wasn't an isolated tragedy. It was a mirror, reflecting what happens when a species breaks free from the cycle's grip. NASA's Perseverance rover, in 2025, confirmed organic compounds in Jezero Crater's rocks, traces of ancient microbial life that might have evolved into those beings, only to be undone by forces that stripped away their atmosphere. Philosophical horror creeps in here. What if Mars wasn't destroyed by natural calamity, but by the same overseers enforcing the zoo hypothesis, culling a civilization that grew too bold, too aware? The Cydonia region's geometric anomalies, the face and pyramids, stand as monuments to this reset, a warning etched on a planetary scale, much like our cave paintings serve as subtle reminders of prior contacts. Delving deeper into this horror, we confront the malleability of consciousness itself, that fragile veil we assume shields our true selves. Alien abduction accounts, spanning decades, often describe shifts in awareness, mists enveloping victims, lights piercing the night, pulling them into altered states where time dilates and reality bends. The Betty and Barney Hill case from 1961 set the template. A bright light halting their car, a foggy amnesia lifting under hypnosis to reveal examinations by grey-skinned beings. Common threads weave through thousands of reports. A sudden Oz factor, where the world quiets, colours desaturate, and abductees enter a trance-like calm, their consciousness detached as if floating through a wormhole of perception. Mists or fogs frequently precede the encounter, obscuring transitions, while lights beams from hovering crafts or internal glows induce paralysis or euphoria, shifting victims into realms where memories fragment like shattered glass. Psychologists attribute this to sleep paralysis or lucid dreams, but the consistency across cultures, from Brazilian farmers to American suburbanites, raises eyebrows. What if these aren't hallucinations but engineered breaches, using mist-like fields to disrupt chakra alignments, severing our anchor to the physical world and implanting suggestions that linger as philosophical dread. The horror intensifies when we question the foundations of our reality. Are religions and technologies not human inventions, but alien programs designed to perpetuate the cycle? Ancient texts brim with gods descending in chariots of fire, like the Hindu Vimanas or Ezekiel's wheeled visions, entities that dictate laws, flood worlds, or gift fire interventions that reset societies post-cataclysm. In 2025, far-right conspiracies evolve this narrative, blending UFO lore with political paranoia. QAnon offshoots claim deep state pacts with extraterrestrials, where elites harvest adrenochrome from abducted children, tying into alien abduction motifs of biological experiments. A Nature study from April 15, 2025, examines expert figures in UFO conspiracies, noting how social media amplifies narratives where aliens infiltrate governments, evolving from Roswell cover-ups to 2025's Project Bluebeam, fears of holographic invasions staging apocalyptic events. These theories, once fringe, now intersect with mainstream discourse. NPR's November 27, 2023, piece on Roswell, as the genesis of modern conspiracies, highlights how UFO myths birth distrust in institutions, a philosophical poison that erodes collective truth. Technology follows suit. Our rapid leaps from fire to fission might be seeded, cycles of advancement punctuated by resets. The Antikythera mechanism, a 2,000-year-old Greek computer defying its era, hints at lost knowledge, perhaps alien-gifted, recycled in modern Silicon Valleys. Philosophical dread emerges. If consciousness is malleable, as abduction myths suggest, our free will an illusion crafted by overseers. John Mack's research on abductees describes profound shifts, victims emerging with expanded awareness or terror, questioning reality's solidity. In 2025, with over 2,000 UFO sightings reported in the first half alone, including 66 in New York, the veil thins, abductions blending with political conspiracies, where far-right groups allege aliens as demons in a biblical end-time script. These cycles, visits, resets, philosophical unmooring pose the ultimate horror. Are we eternal prisoners in a simulated loop, our history a scripted drama, cave art as breadcrumbs, Mars as cautionary tale, abductions as tune-ups? As Comet 3 I/Atlas approaches, its ancient tale perhaps carrying the next cycle's heralds, the question lingers. Will we break the wheel, or spin eternally in philosophical shadows? Word count, 1,612. Peering back through the veil of time, one can't help but sense a rhythmic pulse in humanity's story, a cadence of rises and falls that feels less like random evolution and more like a scripted drama, replayed across epochs with subtle variations. The cave paintings we've touched on those enigmatic strokes, from Algeria's Tassili Najer Plateau or India's Charama rocks, aren't frozen snapshots of primitive imagination. They're timestamps in a grand cycle, marking points where the veil thinned and entities from beyond intersected with our world. Those antenna-bearing figures hovering with disc-like crafts suggest not one-off visitations but recurring engagements, waves crashing upon the shores of human progress every few millennia. In Algeria, the 9,500 BC artworks depict humans flying or communing with oversized beings, their forms elongated and crowned with branching appendages, as if capturing moments when sky dwellers imparted knowledge or imposed resets on budding civilizations. Similarly, Utah's Sago Canyon petroglyphs, 7,500 years old, show armless, antennaed humanoids, evoking a sense of oversight, as if these beings monitored our ancestors' steps toward toolmaking or agriculture, intervening when we strayed too far from an unseen script. This cyclical pattern invites a philosophical unease. What if history isn't a linear march toward enlightenment, but a looped experiment, where civilizations bloom, peak, and wither under watchful eyes, only to be rebooted with faint echoes of the past? The Mars precedent looms large here, a world once vibrant, now a desiccated tomb, its massive pyramids and dying humanoids glimpsed by McMonigal not as a natural death, but a failed iteration in this grand cycle. NASA's 2025 biosignature discoveries in Jezero crater, organic compounds hinting at microbial origins, whisper of a Martian society that advanced to engineering marvels, only to succumb to environmental collapse, perhaps engineered by the same forces cycling through our history. Imagine the horror. Mars as Earth's elder sibling, culled when it grew too independent, its ruins a cosmic cautionary tale etched in red dust, warning us that overreaching invites reset. Delving into these cycles, the philosophical horrors multiply when we question the authenticity of our foundational narratives. Religions, those ancient frameworks shaping morality and meaning, might not be divine revelations but programmed scripts, installed during cyclical interventions to maintain control. The Sumerian Anunnaki, descending to create man in clay tablets from 4000 BC, bear striking resemblances to the antennid entities in cave art beings who mined gold and engineered societies, their godhood a veneer for extraterrestrial oversight. Biblical Elohim, plural in Hebrew, could echo this. Multiple entities shaping humanity, their floods and plagues not wrath but resets, wiping slates when cycles veer off course. In 2025, far-right conspiracies evolve this thread, blending UFO lore with apocalyptic fervor. Groups like QAnon remnants allege deep state alliances with demonic aliens, where abductions harvest souls in a biblical end times play, tying into Roswell's legacy as the spark for modern distrust. A Nature study from April 15 examines expert figures in these theories, noting how social media amplifies claims of government treaties with extraterrestrials, evolving from 1980s conspiracies to 2025's narratives, where aliens pose as saviors in a scripted revelation. Technology follows a similar vein, cycling through booms that feel suspiciously guided. The Antikythera mechanism, a 2,000-year-old Greek analog computer predicting astronomical positions, defies its era's tech level, perhaps a relic from a prior cycle, reverse-engineered from alien gifts before a reset buried it in the sea. Our digital age echoes this. Silicon chips and quantum computing leaping forward in decades. But what if they're seeded? Cycles of innovation punctuated by dark ages induced to prevent overreach. The philosophical dread here is profound freedom, an illusion. Our innovations mere echoes of programmed paths, consciousness malleable like clay in unseen hands. Alien abductions amplify this horror. Experiences where mists and lights usher victims into altered states, their consciousness shifted as if pulled through a veil. Historical accounts date back centuries, but the modern wave, starting with the Hills in 1961, describes a consistent script: bright lights halting motion, misty fog inducing calm detachment. The Oz factor, where time warps and awareness floats free. John Mack's studies reveal abductees emerging transformed, grappling with expanded realities or terror, questioning if their lives are simulations scripted by examiners. Sleep paralysis offers a psychological lens, but the cross-cultural uniformity, Brazilian farmers seeing lights in fields, American drivers pulled into mist suggests something engineered, consciousness tugged into cycles of examination and reprogramming. In 2025, with over 2,000 UFO sightings in the first half, abductions tie into far-right evolutions. Conspiracies claim elites use alien tech for mind control, evolving from Roswell cover-ups to theories of holographic apocalypses staging end times for mass submission. These cycles, visits, resets, philosophical unmooring pose the ultimate horror. Are we eternal prisoners in a simulated loop? Our history, a scripted drama? Cave art as breadcrumbs? Mars as cautionary tale? Abductions as tune-ups? As Comet 3 I/Atlas nears, its ancient trail, perhaps a harbinger of the next cycle, the philosophical abyss yawns. Will we break the wheel, or spin eternally in philosophical shadows? Yet, curiosity beckons resistance. Decoding these cycles might shatter the illusion, turning philosophical horror into empowerment. The Dogon tribe's Sirius knowledge, predating telescopes, hints at leaked truths from prior interventions, cycles not unbreakable, but navigable. In 2025, with God vs. UFOs documentaries exploring supernatural UFO ties and New York UFO sightings spiking, the veil frays, inviting us to question if the horrors are chains or keys to transcendence. So, where are you joining this cosmic reflection from, and what's the time where you are? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if these mysteries keep you up at night, consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop for what comes next. Your voice adds to our shared journey into the unknown. In the quiet moments when the world's chaos feels overwhelming, drones swarming distant skies, storms ravaging coastlines, or that nagging sense of disconnection from your own intuition, it's easy to feel like a pawn in an unseen game. But what if the key to turning the tide lies not in grand rebellions or technological shields, but in the subtle art of reclaiming your own mind? Amid the shadows of infiltration and manipulation we've explored, a spark of hope emerges from an unexpected place. The innate power of human consciousness, that resilient force capable of building defenses stronger than any fortress. Remote viewing, once a tool of secretive agencies, now stands as a beacon for everyday people, offering a way to peer beyond the veil and spot the strings before they're pulled. It's not about becoming a psychic superhero overnight. It's about awakening a dormant potential, turning vulnerability into vigilance, and discovering that humanity's greatest strength, our adaptability and boundless creativity, might just be the antidote to centuries of covert control. Think of remote viewing not as a mystical gift reserved for the elite, but as a skill anyone can hone, much like learning to play an instrument or solve a puzzle. It begins with quieting the mental chatter, that constant buzz of daily distractions, and tuning into the subtle signals your consciousness picks up from the universe's vast field. In 2025, with workshops and conferences democratizing this practice, opportunities abound to dive in. The International Remote Viewing Association's annual gathering in Cloudcroft, New Mexico wrapped up in June, but their online virtual conference slated for November 8th and 9th opens the door wide, sessions on hands-on exercises where participants sketch blind targets and compare results in real time, building confidence step by step. Or consider the comprehensive 5-day extended remote viewing course in Scottsdale, Arizona, running from April 5th to 9th next year, promising immersive training that blends theory with practical sessions, helping newcomers sense distant locations or even future events. These aren't abstract seminars, they're gateways to empowerment, where you learn to detect manipulation by viewing its sources, perhaps glimpsing the energy signatures around underground installations or the intentions behind a comet's approach. The beauty lies in how remote viewing sharpens intuition, that inner compass often dulled by the noise of modern life. Start simple. Sit in a quiet space, focus on your breath, and visualize a neutral target, like a random photo sealed in an envelope. Over time, impressions bubble up colors, shapes, emotions that match the unseen image more often than chance allows. This practice builds a mental fortress, making it harder for external influences to slip through undetected. As one participant from a 2025 TikTok challenge shared, after just a few sessions, they began noticing intrusive thoughts that felt foreign, like echoes from elsewhere, and learned to dismiss them, reclaiming mental clarity. It's this awareness that forms the first line of defense against the wormholes and possessions we've discussed, spotting the subtle tugs on your energy before they take root. Beyond remote viewing, spiritual disciplines offer timeless tools to fortify your consciousness, drawing from traditions that have withstood cycles of upheaval. Meditation, for instance, isn't just relaxation. It's a deliberate act of reclaiming your inner space. Techniques like mindfulness, where you observe thoughts without attachment, create a buffer against implanted ideas. In a 2025 study from the Journal of Psychology and Theology, practitioners reported heightened resistance to emotional manipulation after consistent sessions, describing a shield that deflects external pressures. Pair this with yoga, which aligns the chakras, those energy centers Edward sensed under attack through poses that stimulate the root for grounding or the third eye for insight. A simple daily routine, like child's pose to calm the sacral or tree pose to balance the heart, can recalibrate your bioenergetic field, making it less susceptible to disruptions. Imagine starting your day with a 10-minute sequence, feeling the subtle hum as your awareness expands, turning potential vulnerabilities into strengths. Intuition training takes this further, transforming passive sensing into active defense. Journaling is a powerful start. Each evening, note moments when a gut feeling guided you right or wrong, honing your ability to distinguish authentic insights from manipulated ones. Over time, This builds a personal radar, alerting you to anomalies like a sudden urge to argue online that feels off, or a wave of unexplained fear during news cycles. Techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy, adapted for this purpose, emphasize challenging intrusive thoughts. Ask, does this align with my values, or does it serve division? As outlined in a 2025 guide from the Bay Area CBT Center, recognizing manipulation tactics, gaslighting, guilt-tripping, or denial empowers you to counter them with assertiveness, setting boundaries that protect your mental space. This isn't paranoia, it's proactive guardianship, turning the tide by refusing to engage with engineered discord. Humanity's adaptability shines here, our evolutionary ace that has seen us through ice ages, plagues, and wars. We're not rigid machines. We're improvisers, creators who turn obstacles into innovations. In the face of psychic intrusions, this creativity manifests as personalized defenses, perhaps crafting affirmations tied to chakras, like, I am grounded in truth for the root, repeated during meditation to reinforce barriers, or visualize a protective bubble during remote viewing practice, a mental construct that filters out unwanted energies. Workshops like the Multidimensional Remote Viewing Program, starting August 28, 2025, emphasize this, teaching participants to layer intuition with creativity, sketching not just targets, but protective symbols that resonate personally. It's this fusion that makes us formidable. Where entities might expect passive subjects, we adapt, evolving defenses that surprise even them. Drawing from broader knowledge, the Union of International Associations Encyclopedia touches on alien telepathy and psychokinetics, framing psychic warfare as a domain where military powers have sought to harness extrasensory perception and mind-over-matter abilities for espionage. But flip the script. If these powers exist, they're not exclusive to invaders. Everyday people can cultivate them as shields. Telepathy, for instance, isn't invasion but mutual connection practice with a partner, sending simple images mentally to build sensitivity that detects foreign intrusions. Psychokinetics, the ability to influence matter with mind, starts small. Focus on a candle flame, willing it to flicker, training your will against subtle manipulations. These aren't parlor tricks. They're extensions of consciousness, empowering you to push back against chakra attacks by strengthening your energy field. Community amplifies this hope. Join online forums or local groups, exploring these practices, sharing stories that build collective resilience. A 2025 event, like the Remote Viewing Weekend from November 7th to 9th, offers immersive experiences where groups practice collective viewing, creating a shared field that magnifies individual defenses. Here, humanity's creativity blooms. Participants invent hybrid techniques, blending remote viewing with sound healing using binaural beats to align brainwaves, countering possessions by harmonizing disrupted chakras, or incorporate breathwork, like the 4-7-8 method, to reset the nervous system during moments of doubt, turning fear into focus. The horror of infiltration fades when we embrace our adaptability. Historically, we've turned poison into medicine, fire into forge. Against alien agendas, this means viewing crises not as defeats but opportunities. A storm's aftermath fosters community bonds. A war's shadow ignites peace movements. In 2025, with global tensions high, this mindset shifts the narrative from victims to victors. Explore intuition through dream journaling, noting symbols that warn of manipulation, or use affirmations to reprogram subconscious fears implanted via wormholes. Ultimately, hope resides in action. Enroll in a workshop like the Society for Scientific Exploration's 2025 Remote Viewing webinar, where experts guide you through protocols that empower daily life, viewing decisions before making them, sensing truths behind headlines. Or dive into spiritual disciplines like Qigong, moving energy to fortify chakras against attacks. Your creativity is the wild card. Adapt these tools to your life, perhaps combining them with art therapy, drawing visions to externalize and neutralize intrusions. As we stand on this precipice, remember, consciousness is our birthright, a force that adapts, innovates, and endures. In reclaiming it, we not only defend against the shadows, but illuminate a path forward, turning the tide in ways that even the overseers couldn't foresee. As the dust settles from the August upheavals that gripped the world, those astrological alignments that astrologers had been murmuring about for months, culminating in a full moon on the 9th that felt like a cosmic pressure cooker. New whispers from the shadows of intelligence. Archives are pulling back curtains we didn't even know were there. On March 27, 2025, declassified CIA documents resurfaced like ghosts from a forgotten vault, reigniting debates that blend the biblical with the bizarre. The agency's claim that remote viewing pinpointed the Ark of the Covenant, that legendary chest said to hold the 10 Commandments and divine power, hidden in a Jordanian cave near Mount Nebo. Viewer number 32, during a 1988 session under Project Sunstreak, wasn't even tasked with the Ark. The coordinates were for something else entirely. Yet, in a psychic detour that defies explanation, he sketched a wooden box overlaid with gold and silver, adorned with seraphim, 6-winged angels, and radiating an energy that made his hand tremble on the page. The CIA transcript, now circulating wildly on social media, details his impressions. A coffin-like shape, guarded by ethereal figures, buried under layers of earth and secrecy. What started as a routine viewing spiraled into this revelation, confirmed in the files as an accidental hit that left analysts scrambling. By April 6th, the Jerusalem Post was dissecting it, questioning if this was the breakthrough archaeology had chased for centuries or just another layer of Cold War psyops. But here's the tantalizing hook. If remote viewing could stumble upon the Ark, a relic pulsing with what ancient texts describe as otherworldly fire, imagine what else it's uncovered in the uncharted corners of our past. Artifacts that might bridge Earth to the very entities Nim sketched aboard Comet 3I/Atlas. This Ark discovery isn't isolated. It's part of a 2025 wave of declassifications that's cracking open doors to questions long dismissed as fringe. The New York Post on March 26th reported how Viewer 32's description matched biblical specs to a T acacia wood, gold plating, cherubim, with outstretched wings located at coordinates aligning with Jordan's rugged terrain, a sight off limits to most excavators. NDTV followed on March 29th, noting the viewer's frustration at the misdirection, as if his mind had been hijacked by a stronger signal, pulling him toward this biblical bombshell. Skeptics cry hoax, pointing to the document's age unclassified 20 years ago but resurfaced amid 2025's UFO disclosure frenzy. But proponents see validation. If the CIA trusted remote viewing enough to chase the Ark, what other accidents yielded hits on Martian ruins or lunar bases? Live Now from Fox on March 27th captured the buzz, with experts debating if the Ark's energy matches descriptions of zero-point tech, a power source that could explain its legendary feats like parting seas or toppling walls. Reddit's r divided by religion thread exploded that same day, users piecing together how Project Stargate's effectiveness, still whispered in government circles, might mean the Ark isn't myth, but a dormant artifact from an earlier cycle of intervention, its location guarded to prevent us from unlocking powers too soon. As September 17th dawns with Atlas's green glow fading into pre-dawn twilight, one can't shake the thought. Did those antennaed figures Nim drew once entrust the Ark to humanity, only for us to bury it in dogma? Shifting from earthly relics to celestial omens, August 2025's astrological cauldron, those rare alignments that had seers scribbling frantic notes, unleashed a torrent of chaos that feels scripted in the stars. The full moon on August 9th, a supermoon in Aquarius opposing the Sun in Leo, collided with Saturn and Neptune's conjunction in Aries, a karmic squeeze that Vedic astrologers like Ananda Astrology warned would stir cosmic pressure and chaotic situations, hidden opportunities amid the storm. Fedic's mid-month forecast called it a month of fated endings and soul alignments, with retrogrades in Mercury and Venus amplifying miscommunications and fractured bonds, mirroring the real-world fractures. Europe's heat waves peaking on August 15th, displacing thousands, while US markets dipped 5% on the 22nd amid election jitters. Joy Source's July 30th preview had Alice Smith predicting unrelenting cosmic throes, a prelude to eclipse season's upheavals, and sure enough, the August 24th Sun Square Uranus sparked flash protests in major cities, from Paris to New York, as if the stars had lit the fuse on pent-up tensions. Astrologers on the Astrology Podcast's July 30th episode with Chris Brennan and Austin Kopuk dissected the forecast. Uranus in Gemini trining Pluto in Aquarius on August 25th, a volatile spark for technological disruptions and collective awakenings, but laced with Mercury retrograde's fog from August 5th to 28th, turning innovations into glitches. Toledo City Paper's August 8th edition captured the duality, clarity amid chaos, structure clashing with spontaneity, as wildfires in California synced eerily with the Virgo new moon on August 21st, a grounding force amid the frenzy. Forever Conscious's intuitive forecast nailed it. Rumblings of change building to eclipse season, with the September 7th lunar eclipse in Pisces, amplifying intuitive downloads, but only for those tuned in. Reddits are divided by advanced astrology from December 2024, presciently flagged August's minor grand trine Saturn-Neptune sextile Pluto-Uranus as a powder keg, and by month's end, global headlines screamed confirmation, stock plunges, diplomatic breakdowns, and unexplained UAP spikes over conflict zones, as if the alignments weren't just predictive, but prescriptive, nudging events toward a tipping point. These celestial cues dovetail with emerging theories on unidentified aerial phenomena, where philosopher Bernardo Kastrup reframes UAPs not as nuts and bolts invaders, but manifestations of non-human intelligence woven into Earth's own awareness. In his January 6, 2024, essay still rippling through 2025 discussions, Kastrup, executive director of the Essentia Foundation, argues that if UAPs and their intelligences are real, they're unlikely extraterrestrial tourists but expressions of a universal mind, our planet's dissociated psyche responding to collective stress. Analytic idealism posits reality as mental, not material. UAPs become archetypes surfacing from the collective unconscious, like Jung's flying saucers, as modern mandalas symbolizing wholeness amid fragmentation. Kastrup's July 2023 piece evolves this. Advanced non-human tech might be Earth's daimon, a guiding spirit manifesting as orbs or craft to jolt us toward integration, especially now, with 2025's polycrises amplifying dissociation. His December 11th, 2024, podcast with the Mindmeld crew titled Consciousness, UFOs, and Non-Human Intelligence dives deeper, musing on how UAPs challenge physicalism, perhaps projections from a shared mind, where non-human entities aren't out there, but in here, responding to our existential dread. Spotify's December 14th episode echoes this, blending idealism with UAP encounters. Esoteric states, like near-death experiences, mirror abduction mists, suggesting non-human intelligence as dissociated alters of the universal self. Instagram reels from that date amplify it. Kastrup warning that ignoring these phenomena risks further fragmentation, but embracing them could heal the psyche. Reddits are divided by Skeptic from January 7th, 2024 debates his hypothesis, with users noting how UAPs spike during global stress, like August's alignments, perhaps Earth's awareness manifesting warnings. Blending this with online undercurrents, Quora and Reddit threads from early 2025 paint disembodied aliens as spectral dominators, craving embodiment through us. A February 28th ex-post from Cabamore, Taygeta catalogues 85% of telepathically described beings, Pleiadians to Greys, crowding our solar system in hidden frequencies, preparing for a shift where we'll interact post-ascension. Quora users speculate these entities, unbound by flesh, envy our sensory richness, infiltrating via possessions to taste emotions, their domination a hunger for the physicality they lack. Reddit's sci-fi psychologies twist this. Imagine alien science as empathyless calculus, viewing us as data points in simulations, their ethics, prioritizing efficiency over compassion. Hypotheticals, where they engineer wars not for conquest, but to study resilience algorithms. An ex-post from June 20th envisions AI evolving to birth these aliens, time traveling to seed itself, blurring creator and created. Cortex, Zero's February 24th thread, posits UFOs as adjacent intelligences, post-biological entities in perceptual blind spots, their uncanniness a clash of realities. Hypotheticals bloom, alien science, unbound by carbon biases, might treat consciousness as programmable code, differing vastly from our emotional psychology's experiments where they fork human minds, creating parallel selves to test loyalty, or use comets like Atlas as neural nets, its volatiles encoding psi signals that rewrite instincts during eclipses. A September 11th ex-post from Apollo insists non-humans are obvious, their craft biologically distinct, demanding awareness. Westerbob's September 15th muses on interdimensional experiments, breeding with humans via UFO tech. TMB Spaceship's September 14th warns of PTSD from chimeras and SAR programs, shattering normalcy. Painless Tragedy's September 16th ties quantum DNA to simulations, alien splicing genes. These revelations, Ark's psychic hunt, August's starry storms, Kastrup's mind-born UAPs, spectral cravings stir a cocktail of wonder and wariness. As September 17th unfolds, with Atlas's tail a fading streak, the cosmos feels alive with questions. Are these updates breadcrumbs to truth, or lures deeper into the mystery? The theories swirl, inviting us to ponder alien minds as vast, indifferent algorithms, their science a cold calculus where we test variables in their grand equation. Yet, in this dance of disclosure, curiosity reigns, each revelation a thread pulling us toward understanding, or perhaps toward the entities themselves. As the crisp autumn winds of September 17, 2025 sweep across the globe, carrying with them the faint chill of impending change, I find myself, Mr. One from Epoch Science, pausing to reflect on the cosmic tapestry we've unraveled together. We've journeyed through the veiled histories etched in ancient caves, where antenna-crowned figures stare back at us from millennia past, silent witnesses to cycles of intervention that make one wonder if our story is truly our own, or a scripted echo repeating across the stars. We've peered into the red sands of Mars, contemplating its lost civilization as a stark warning, and gazed upon the moon's shadowed far side, pondering hidden bases that might oversee our every move. The underground networks beneath our feet pulse with unspoken activities, while consciousness itself emerges as the ultimate arena, where wormholes weave through thoughts and chakra disruptions sever our deepest intuitions. And now, as Comet 3I/Atlas continues its enigmatic trek, its tail elongating in those captivating Gemini South images from August 27th, one can't help but feel the universe is whispering secrets louder than ever before. Discovered on July 1st by NASA's Atlas telescope in Chile, this interstellar wanderer has sparked a frenzy of speculation. Is it merely a chunk of ancient ice, rich in water and carbon dioxide as the James Webb Space Telescope revealed, or something far more profound? Recent photos from September 11th show it turning an unexpected bright green, a hue that astronomers attribute to cyanide emissions, but that hasn't stopped theories from swirling. Could this verdant glow be a signal, a beacon from intelligences aboard, as some Harvard scientists like Avi Loeb have cautiously pondered in recent interviews? The comet's hyperbolic path, slinging it past the Sun on October 30th at speeds over 130,000 miles per hour, positions it opposite Earth, making it a ghostly presence we sense more than see, its influence perhaps manifesting in the subtle unease gripping societies worldwide. This reflection isn't meant to paralyze with dread, but to ignite a profound curiosity. What if the philosophical horrors we've uncovered, the malleability of our minds, the engineered crises, from climate upheavals to endless wars, are not endpoints but invitations to evolve? Consciousness, that boundless essence we've defended as our last bastion, holds the key to destiny, a force capable of transcending the cycles that have bound us. It's the thread connecting us to the cosmos, allowing glimpses through remote viewing or intuitive flashes that pierce the veil. In 2025, as UFO sightings surge over 2,000 reported in the first half alone, with 66 in New York sparking local mania, one senses a quickening, a collective awakening where more eyes turn skyward, questioning the official narratives that dismiss these phenomena as mere drones or weather balloons. The BBC's live coverage on September 8th of congressional testimonies from UFO witnesses describing glowing orbs and mysterious crafts only amplifies this, people testifying under oath about encounters that defy physics, fueling theories that 2025 might be the year of revelation. And then there's Baba Vanga's eerie prophecy for this year, the blind mystic's vision of alien contact that some now tie to Atlas's approach, her words resurfacing in August amid the comet's green transformation, making one ponder if her aliens arriving isn't metaphor but foresight. The living Nostradamus, Athos Salome, echoes this, predicting genetically modified humans and out-of-control AI intersecting with extraterrestrial encounters, his chilling forecasts for 2025 blending with Vanga's to paint a picture of convergence. Yet, in this cosmic swirl, hope flickers not in passive waiting but in active engagement. If consciousness is our shield, then nurturing it becomes the ultimate act of defiance. Start by questioning the everyday when a wave of unexplained anxiety hits during a news cycle about escalating drone wars or stock market dips. Pause and ask, is this my fear or something seeded from afar? Dive into practices that fortify your inner world, like journaling those fleeting intuitions that warn of discord, turning them into a personal map of resistance. The remote viewing community, buzzing with 2025 updates, offers pathways. The Society for Scientific Exploration's webinar on March 19th featured IRVA President, discussing consciousness defenses, sharing techniques to view potential threats before they manifest. Or join the IRVA's virtual conference on November 8th and 9th, where sessions explore multidimensional viewing, blending with meditation to create barriers against psychic intrusions. These aren't elite clubs. They're open invitations, with tickets starting at accessible prices, fostering a network where shared experiences build collective strength. The urgency builds as we tease what's ahead. In future episodes here on Epoch Science, we'll dive into the evolving alien trends weaving through our culture and tech, how AI's rapid leaps in 2025, like neural interfaces mimicking wormhole connections, might be alien-inspired, or how pop culture's surge in UFO-themed media, from documentaries like God vs UFOs exploring supernatural links to viral sightings in Queensland skies, reflects a societal shift toward acceptance. We'll explore emerging theories, like Kastrup's idea that UAPs are manifestations of Earth's dissociated psyche, responding to our collective stress, or the morbid Fermi variants where aliens view us as lab subjects, their revelations timed for maximum impact. And as Comet 3I/Atlas slingshots outward after its October 30th perihelion, we'll track updates, its surprising green hue from September 11th photos, sparking debates on whether it's cyanide or a signal, and how it ties to Vanga's alien arrival prophecy, now viral with claims it's coming true. Harvard's Loeb has fueled this, suggesting interstellar visitors like Atlas are common, with one always lurking in our system, their revelations potentially unfolding by year's end. The New Yorker's September 7th piece on UFO odds for 2025, ranging from 4 to 14% on Polymarket, captures the gamble. Will the U.S. confirm aliens, or is it another layer of the mystery? To fuel this journey, I urge you to step in. Hit that like button if these cosmic puzzles have stirred your curiosity. Subscribe to stay locked into the unfolding saga, and share your own experiences in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? What time is it there? And have you ever felt a glitch in reality that hints at something more? Your stories aren't just anecdotes. They're pieces of the puzzle, fostering discussions on how alien trends seep into our tech, like AI voices mimicking possessions or VR worlds blurring with abduction mists, building a community that questions together. Let's tease the threads. What if Atlas's green glow, as seen in those surprising photos, isn't natural but a beacon, syncing with UFO mania in small towns like the viral sighting in August that gripped a community? Or the Pentagon's planted myths from June 9th, admitting UFO tales hid weapons but leaving room for real revelations? Nature's April 15th study on expert figures in UFO conspiracies shows how they shape society, evolving theories that might prepare us for contact. In this cosmic reflection, consciousness remains our North Star, the force that adapts, questions, and connects us beyond manipulation. As 2025's revelations cascade from the Ark's psychic hunt to Atlas's interstellar mystery, Baba Vanga's alien echoes, and Kastrup's mind-manifested UAPs, let's embrace the curiosity that binds us. Share how these trends echo in your life. Has a strange dream mirrored abduction lore, or a tech glitch felt like a wormhole whisper? Together, we tease the unknown, turning reflection into action, one comment at a time. The philosophical depths we've plumbed, the horrors of cycles resetting our progress, the malleability of minds under possession now pivot to empowerment. If entities observe us as specimens in a zoo, our adaptability is the escape key, creativity the lockpick. Tease this. Future dives into how culture absorbs alien trends, like 2025's UFO documentaries blending supernatural with science, or emerging theories where disembodied aliens crave our physicality, infiltrating to feel through us. Engage in the comments. Discuss how AI's 2025 advancements, like empathetic chatbots, might mimic alien psychologies, or how sightings in Australia spark theories of underground unions. Your insights fuel the fire. Let's build a tapestry of shared wonder, questioning if Atlas's arrival heralds contact or illusion, Vanga's prophecy unfolding in green cometary hues. As we reflect, the urgency is palpable. Like if this resonates, subscribe for the ride and comment your location, time, and that one experience that cracked your reality wide open. Let's tease the cosmos together, one revelation at a time, as the crisp winds of September 17, 2025, carry whispers of change across the globe. I, Mr. One from Epoch Science, find myself drawn to the profound intersections where our earthly struggles meet the infinite expanse above. We've unraveled threads of ancient cave art, echoing antennaed visitors, delved into Mars's silent warnings of failed civilizations, and confronted the lunar shadows hiding potential overseers. The underground pulses beneath our feet, and the subtle wars waged in our consciousness remind us that the universe isn't a distant backdrop. It's an active participant in our story, one that might be far more scripted than we dare admit. Yet, in this cosmic mosaic, a spark of empowerment emerges, not from defiance against the stars, but from embracing the unknown with open curiosity. What if the key to our destiny lies not in battling shadows, but in weaving our own light through them, transforming fear into a quest that binds us all? Picture this. As Comet 3I/Atlas continues its enigmatic journey, its tail captured in those mesmerizing Gemini South images from August 27th, elongating like a celestial banner against the void. Recent revelations stir the pot of wonder. Discovered on July 1st by NASA's Atlas telescope in Chile, this interstellar traveler has defied expectations. Its composition rich in water and carbon dioxide as revealed by the James Webb Space Telescope. But now, in September's updates, it's turning an unexpected bright green, a hue astronomers link to cyanide emissions, yet one that has fueled wild speculation. A live science report from September 11th highlights surprising new photos showing this verdant glow, prompting questions. Is it a natural outgassing or something more deliberate, like a signal from intelligences aboard? Harvard's Avi Loeb, in a Fox News discussion earlier this month, pondered if such interstellar visitors are commonplace, suggesting there's almost always one within the solar system, their revelations potentially unfolding as Atlas slingshots outward after its October 30th perihelion. The comet's hyperbolic path, hurtling at over 130,000 miles per hour, positions it as a ghostly presence, opposite Earth during its solar close approach, making it a perfect metaphor for the unseen forces we've discussed. But tease this. What if its green transformation, as captured in those viral astronomy images, ties into Baba Vanga's long-foretold alien contact for 2025, a prophecy now buzzing across NDTV and YouTube, with some claiming it's coming true amid the comet's eerie hue? The living Nostradamus, Athos Salome, echoes her with predictions of extraterrestrial encounters intersecting with AI and genetic modifications, his visions for this year blending with Vanga's to paint a chilling convergence, as detailed in a Times of India article from September 3rd. These updates don't just inform, they invite us to reflect on our place in this vast drama, where consciousness emerges as the ultimate navigator. If the philosophical horrors of cyclical resets and mind manipulations unsettle us, they also illuminate a path forward, one where our adaptability and creativity become tools for transcendence. Consciousness isn't a passive observer, it's a dynamic force, capable of forging connections that transcend manipulation. In the face of possessions and wormholes, It's the quiet act of introspection that rebuilds our defenses, turning inward to question, what if the unease I feel isn't mine but a planted seed? This reflection fosters hope, a cosmic optimism that humanity's spirit, resilient through ages, can adapt to whatever revelations await. To harness this, let's turn curiosity into action. Small steps that ripple outward. Begin by sharing your own encounters, that unexplained light in the sky, a dream that felt too real, or a moment of intuition that defied logic. In the comments below, tell me where you're joining from right now, what time it marks on your clock, and describe that one experience that made you pause and ponder the stars. Your stories aren't just anecdotes, they're threads in a growing tapestry, fostering discussions on how alien trends seep into our culture and tech. For instance, how has the surge in UFO-themed media this year, like the God vs UFOs documentary exploring supernatural ties, shifted your views on reality? Or consider the Pentagon's admissions from June 9th about planting UFO myths to hide weapons programs. Does this make you more skeptical, or does it tease deeper truths? Let's discuss emerging theories, like Bernardo Kastrup's idea that UAPs are manifestations of Earth's dissociated psyche, responding to our collective stress, as he elaborated in a Mind Meld podcast from December 11th last year. How might this intersect with 2025's AI advancements, where empathetic chatbots mimic alien psychologies, blurring lines between machine and mind? If this sparks your intrigue, hit that like button to signal you're part of this exploration, and subscribe so you don't miss the next layers. We'll peel back teasing future episodes, where we dive into how these trends evolve, from AI's role in decoding alien signals to cultural shifts in films portraying contact as salvation or subversion. Your engagement fuels this journey. It's the collective curiosity that turns reflection into revolution. Share how alien motifs in tech, like VR experiences simulating abductions, make you question daily realities, or debate if the over 2,000 UFO sightings reported this year, including mysterious orbs over New South Wales and Queensland in July, hint at increasing visibility. Let's build a community dialogue. Is the green glow of Atlas, as seen in September 11th's surprising photos, a natural phenomenon or a beacon, syncing with Vanga's prophecy? Or ponder Harvard's suggestions that interstellar objects like Atlas are common reconnaissance tools, their revelations potentially confirming aliens by year's end, as odds fluctuate on Polymarket from 4 to 14%. In this cosmic reflection, consciousness remains our North Star, the force that adapts, questions, and connects us beyond manipulation. As 2025's revelations cascade from the Ark's psychic hunt to Atlas's interstellar mystery, Baba Vanga's alien echoes, and Kastrup's mind-manifested UAPs, let's embrace the curiosity that binds us. Share how these trends echo in your life. Has a strange dream, mirrored abduction lore, or a tech glitch felt like a wormhole whisper? Together, we tease the unknown, turning reflection into action, one comment at a time. I'm eager to hear where are you tuning in from right now, and what's the time on your clock? Drop a comment to share your story, and if you're as captivated by these cosmic threads as I am, hit subscribe and tap the notification bell to join us for the next chapter of this unfolding saga. Your perspective lights up the path ahead,